meeting of the new year. January. Yep, January. We have an agenda of 7 items. Originally it had been 9. One is postponed and one is withdrawn. So we have 7 items before us. Those of you who are not familiar with our process, we go item by item. Each applicant makes a presentation, their attorney, the applicant themselves, and the members of the committee can comment, can question, and then we ask for members of the community if they have anything to say. And then we take a vote. Our vote goes to the full board, which meets the first Wednesday in February. And they either accept our recommendations, our letter, or they modify it, and that goes to the State Liquor Authority. We don't have any authority to say yes or no. We make recommendations, as does the full board to the State Liquor Authority. And again, my name is Bert Larzan, co-chair, and I'd like other committee members, starting with my co-chair, to introduce themselves and do, I'd say it now.
I'm Frank Hall-Zubiak, the other co-chair.
I'm Wendy Gonzalez, I'm a committee member.
Kristen Bertig, committee member.
Candace Hewitt, committee member.
Inga Ivchenko, public member.
Theodore Arenas, committee member.
Ina Nelson, committee member.
Harry Keenan, committee member.
Input, output.
Jesse.
Greenwald. Hello. Hi. Jesse Greenwald, committee member. Sorry I'm late.
Built in.
You're just starting, Jesse. You're not late at all. Welcome.
Right. Just a few other introductory things. The one thing that's been postponed since the agenda went out is agenda item 9, the Wrecking Club at 458 9th Avenue. So that will not be heard tonight. It's postponed till February. I think most of you have heard this, but because the city has continued its emergency order, we are still permitted to meet via Zoom. But one of the conditions of that is that the meeting is also being live streamed on our YouTube channel, and a recording of it will then be posted on that channel for who knows how long, forever perhaps. Since I think we have a lot of new people in the meeting as attendees, I just want to explain how that'll work in terms of participating in the meeting. When each agenda item is called, if you're a member of the public and are interested in speaking on that agenda item, please use the raise hand function, which shows up at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And then at an appropriate time, Nellie Gonzalez, our assistant district manager, will move you into the main meeting, at which point you'll be heard and seen on the screen, and you'll be able to address the committee.
Okay, I think that covers it, Frank. So remember, you're on YouTube. You will be on forever and ever. So smile a lot and be articulate. Okay, so let's go on to the agenda. As you may recognize, our agenda is divided by type of application. So our first area, applications for new wine, beer, and cider licenses. And tonight we only have one under this category. Item number 1, 109 West 17th Street, Peoplehood, LLC. Do we have the applicant here, attorneys?
Yes, Elke Hoffman. I'm the attorney for the applicant. There should be, Elizabeth should be, I can't tell whether she's, oh, there we are. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
She's waving. Your title says Rachel Link applicant.
Oh, it does. Oh, wait, let me change that. That's so weird.
I was wondering, Elizabeth, but your name is Rachel?
I was scanning the names and yes. Yeah.
Okay, so either one of you or both start, please.
Yeah. Yes, I'm working with Elizabeth and her team. They are Peoplehood. The applicant is Peoplehood 1 LLC, and they are looking at taking over 109 West 17th, which is the space that was Haven's Kitchen. This is an application. Again, this is for beer, wine, and cider. The layout is similar to what Haven's Kitchen had, in that the ground floor will have a small cafe. There's a cafe area in the front, a meeting space area in the back, and I'll leave Elizabeth to describe a little bit more about, what they're looking at, what kinds of meetings you're talking about there. The middle floor is offices and a small lounge, and the top floor is sort of a flexible use conference event space. The closing hours are weekdays, closing at 10, weekends, 11, beer, wine, and cider. Elizabeth, if you want to describe a little bit more just about what Peoplehood is.
Sure. Peoplehood is a place for facilitated conversations. What we're learning a lot about is what is required to have strong connections with ourselves and each other. And one of the things that we think is missing from the market and from our culture is dedicated spaces that provide the scaffolding and the structure for us to connect. And so these facilitated conversations will be an hour long and have between 12 and 20 people in them, and allow for people to connect with each other and also develop the skill of active listening. So we had started a business in 2006 called Soul Cycle. We did indoor cycling there. And one of the things that we had learned from that experience was that what people really derived most from that walking in the front door and leaving an hour later was just how they felt more connected to themselves and other people. And so my business partner, Julie, and I have been working together with the team on this concept for the last 3 years. We started before COVID, and we're getting ready to open at the end of the month.
So I guess I still have a little fuzzy on the concept. What brings people to your location in the first place? I mean, do you offer events, or is it sort of a sort of rental type situation?
Yes. So you sign up either online or in person. This is our in-person location. And so these gathers, we're calling them gathers, and they are groups of 12 to 20 people who participate in a facilitated conversation. It could be about uncertainty. It could be about holidays. It could be about whatever is sort of current and in the zeitgeist at that moment. And the people who are going to attend this are people who are interested in really social health, because there's such an enormous social health crisis that exists out there. And everybody's talking about it. I don't know who's reading the New York Times, but the full week of challenges were all around our social health and reaching out to each other and staying connected and all of that. And Julie and I have a thesis that there just are not enough spaces for that kind of activity to happen. And so we think that by providing these experiences, obviously we're just starting, this is a new concept, but we hope that we'll be able to offer these, basically during the day on the hour, and that people can come and attend gathers either on their own with strangers. And then we also have something called Couplehood, where you bring a partner, and it's a chance for you to just spend intentional time with your partner, just checking in. And we've been beta testing this. We've had over 2,000 people go through the experience, primarily online. And we've had tremendous feedback from people who have been participating in this now for months and in some cases over a year. And they just say that this is something that really is so additive to their lives that they want to continue to do this and bring family members and people inside their community as well.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Elizabeth, like those are, they're like classes sort of in the vein of Soul Cycle. You sign up and you sign up for like the 1 hour class and you've got this group of 12 to 20 people. And that's sort of in the back of the ground floor. But the front is a cafe, a regular cafe that's open to the public. People can come and they can sit down. There's a small table, correct?
There's a standing table, yes, and there's also some sweatshirts and some swag and stuff that you can buy. And the walk-in aspect of it is really for people who have filled out like a very short application to just say like, I'm interested in Peoplehood, so that we can, make sure that the folks who are joining us are people who have good intentions. And that's exactly correct in your description. Thank you, Rocky.
Let me get a little bit of some more clarification.
I'm sorry, we are open to the public. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear.
I can walk by on the street and drop by for a drink if I wanted,
Yes.
without signing up for anything.
Yeah.
And
There's a coffee,
Yeah.
there's coffee and snacks, and then in the
Right.
evening we'll have some wine.
okay, and functionally, if I wanted to facilitate my own group, could I approach you and say, this is my topic? Can I rent some space? Or all the groups are your groups? In other words, you pick the topic, you announce at 11 o'clock, we're having a discussion on this, conversation on that, at 12, at 1, at 2, 3. How does that work? Is it open to other people coming in with content-driven conversations?
So that's a great question. So what we are doing is we're training guides to facilitate these conversations, and they're very specifically choreographed, for lack of a better term. So no, it would not be open to somebody coming in and wanting to facilitate their own group at this point. I don't imagine us doing that, but like I said, this is like a new concept, and so we have a lot to learn here. It is our vision that the people that we've trained about 15 guides at this point, that they will be the primary facilitators of these experiences. They hold they hold the, the space for the group, and then they facilitate the conversations by
So
being.
these are trained facilitators paid by you.
Yes.
And you're staff people.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get I do a lot of groups. That's why I was wondering, what exactly are you doing here? I've been trained to do group work. So that has nothing to do with BLP. It's another hat I wear. So I'm just trying to see, how are you operating?
Yeah, there is a New York Times article sort of about Peoplehood. I should have probably included the article in the stack as well that describes the concept a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Now I see we have at least 3 committee members who have their hands up. Tina, Carrie, Christine.
Hi there. I'm still a little bit confused because you both mentioned 12 to 20 people as those that are coming to your establishment. And just briefly looking at and hearing you describe your place, there's a first floor, a second floor, a third floor, and I even think you might have mentioned a 4th floor. So you're leading me to believe that you're only having 12 to 20 people come in at a time. Is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case, I'm not worried about lines outside or obstructing traffic. But if we're talking about filling up this house that has a space for 71 on the first floor, 68 on the second floor, so on and so forth, I am getting a little bit concerned about how you're going to let people in or keep people outside, et cetera.
Yeah, so, I'm happy to take a stab at it, and then Elizabeth can sort of fill in where my knowledge comes off. Like the ground floor is sort of this cafe area, and then is relatively small. I think the facilitated groups, it is a fairly small space. The second floor also has a relatively small lounge, and part of it will be offices, but it's an area that could be used also for a happy hour for another group if there's overflow. And the third floor is a larger floor that I think the programming is still open for, but it's never going to be, I mean, we put down the maximum occupancy because that's the maximum occupancy on the certificate of occupancy. Certainly, I think with the cafe layout and 20 seats, you could never fit, you're never going to pile in 71 people on the first floor, and there's offices on the second floor. So you're never going to have, 70 something people on the second floor. And then I think the third floor is still sort of a flexible use. It could be overflow if there's more than one group going on. It might be a promotional event. Elizabeth can talk a little bit more about the detailed use of the third floor.
I think you've really said that well. I think we envision maybe there's an author who's come to town and we do a night for, book signing that is relevant to some of the topics that we're interested in at Peoplehood. That's something that we're really trying to kind of understand. So the third floor provides us some flexibility. We have also had some interest from companies who like many people have now attended these gathers. And one of the things that we've heard from people is this is fantastic and I like doing this on my own, but I'd love to bring my team. So we sort of envision that people will bring their teams and maybe, we have, coffee and conversation, that sort of thing.
And again, the closing hours are, 10 on weekdays and 11 on weekends. So that sort of, I think that alone shows you it's not really set up to be, a night scene kind of place.
Thank you. Carrie?
Hi, Elizabeth. I had a couple questions related to the West 17th Street Block Association letter. They asked that you stipulate that you will not be using the roof. Will you stipulate to that?
Yes, we will not be using the roof.
Great. And there's questions around the sidewalk shed. Will you be using a sidewalk shed?
We have not determined if we are going to use that or not.
So I guess in the past, according to their notes, there's been some issues with rats. How do you plan on dealing with your garbage?
We have a commercial carting company that we have contracted with, and they will be carting our garbage.
And you won't be leaving it on the street like overnight, or have you read we have a new sanitation policy? Have you had a chance to read that?
Yeah, we have, our operations team has that, and we are going to abide by whatever that says.
Great. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Christine?
Yes, very interesting concept. So let's talk about the numbers. Clearly on you have put certificate of occupancy is 206, but the second column is generally we ask you how many people really are going to be there. And so we know that, I don't know how much is on the first floor, but the second floor, there's no way you can fit 69 people. So we need the number here of what really is going to be there. That's the second column on the application. We don't need to know what they are doing right now. We just need a number.
Okay, I think, what we had tried to put in that was, there's 2 fixed tables. That's all there is. And like 69 seats, if you're looking at sort of the seats in the lounge and the seats in the back area. And otherwise the third floor was a flexible space, but perhaps we can sort of flush out those numbers and what the numbers are and get back to you.
What are the numbers downstairs?
Well, I think it was what we have, like 25 people in the back. The cafe fits 8. I think the lounge may have been 12 on the second floor.
Wait, I'm still on the first floor. Can you give me a number?
I'm trying to flip through the diagrams as you're on the phone here. The conversation room on the first floor has 25 chairs. Set up for 25 chairs. There's a communal table that I think we said would fit around 8 on the first floor.
So we're talking about 35 max and with the people helping, etc., right? Survey.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if there are a few people coming in to buy sweatshirts, then there's a few
No,
more.
no, it's, I mean, yeah, but I mean, don't tell me all those things. Just tell me the number. How many people are going to be down there? You know, and then on the lounge, it looks to me like it's a very small lounge. So it looks like it's 25 people.
Yeah, it looks like the private lounge event space, we have written in on the diagram that we submitted, maximum occupancy of 32.
Right. So these are the numbers you need to put on that second column. Not 206.
Okay.
Because that's one of the concern of the 17 block association. And you know, if you put the real number, this is way less than the 206.
Correct.
So this is way better for the community. Community is less concerned.
Well, I think if you're looking, let's see, I'm just looking at the rest of the application. In fact, you know, where we broke it up, where it said multiple spaces for capacity breakdown, first floor, it says 12 seats at table, approximately 25 seats in the conversation room. Second floor, I wrote 12 seats at tables. So
Elke, I hear what you say, but this is not, we don't have the time to do all this calculation.
no, but it's in the application though. It's on page 3.
It's on the second column, say up to 206. That's the number we are looking at.
Okay,
Okay.
Elke, why don't we do this? If you could, and Nellie will give me a date at some point, but in the next 2 weeks or so, if you could give us just a couple of more specific numbers on page 2, in the second column there that Christine's been talking about, where it says maximum number of persons occupying premises. If you can give us, you know, your estimate of the total number of people that could be in there at any one time. And then on the page you're referring to, the multiple floors, in the capacity column, instead of putting the maximum legal capacity, if you could put sort of the maximum, you know, realistic, the maximum number that would fit in your eyes, that would help it a lot. Because as Christine said, we got a lengthy letter from the 100 West 17th Street Block Association. And their big concern is this had previously been a place with a C of O of 74 people, you know, just the first floor. And suddenly it seems to them like that number is tripling and they're nervous about that. So that's what's driving our questions.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Yeah, and the time sense would be that we would get the information, the revised numbers way before, and like Frank said, Nellie will give us a deadline way before the full board meeting. So we'll have that information by then.
That's no problem.
So I have one more.
Let's just get a date from Nellie while we're here. Nellie, when do you need the new information?
January 23rd.
Okay.
There's our deadline.
You got it.
Christine?
Yeah, a second point is that you have, you're saying that the ADA, the building is not ADA compliant, or at least the entrance. And I looked at your picture and it seems that you have, the step is very, very small and it wouldn't take much to make it ADA compliant. Would you do that?
We cannot do that. There are some, I can't really speak to the details of that, but our architects were saying that it would be not possible for us to do that.
Okay, that seems odd because, did you read our policy about that? And there is a recommendation of how to do it? If you could take that to your architect and get back to us, that would be very nice.
We'll be happy to do that. I will say I had multiple conversations with them about that, and there were reasons that was not achievable, and which I don't recall at this moment.
Okay.
Perhaps a ramp can be available. We've had some, you know, when places don't have the ability to actually build a permanent ramp.
Sure.
The ability to have a portable one on demand is sometimes, we've had some clients do that when the spaces can't be made compliant.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah, so if we can get some kind of definitive answer on that by the 23rd as well, that would be helpful. I have Inga, and
Thank you.
But I thought Candace, your hand was, it's back up again. Okay.
Thank you, Bert.
Mm.
I have one question. Christine asked most of them. I have one left that's a bit confusing. Bert asked about someone else coming in, and you said no, you were using your own, but then you later said that you would let someone in with a group. So I'm confused. Will your person be leading that? You're not allowing anyone from the outside to come in with a group?
Yeah, so that I was describing when somebody might want to come with their work team mates, and that we will provide facilitated conversations for them with our guides. Yes. So
Okay.
no, nobody's coming in to facilitate their own
Okay.
experiences that are not inside of the Peoplehood
Okay.
ecosystem.
Okay. That was that. I was just confused.
I'm
about
sorry
that.
if I was unclear.
Nope, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Without
Yeah.
the numbers, I can't vote for this, but otherwise it's fine.
okay.
Thank you.
Candace?
Yes, I was just gonna say, that if you do a ramp, make sure you include a bell. Sometimes people just put a ramp there and then the person in the wheelchair can't access the door. It needs to be a bell or some kind of door that opens when they do come in. I've noticed that in a couple of buildings where there's a ramp, but there's nobody to open the door for them, so.
Thank you for mentioning that. I know that we've had a lot of discussions. We've had this building for so long, and we have been around the mulberry bush on so many things, and have really, tried to be very thoughtful about these things. So I will follow up on that. I don't recall where we landed with that, but that's a really good recommendation.
Okay. I don't see any other committee members with their hands raised. Nellie from the community?
Yes, there's one person, Judy Klein.
Okay, could you bring her over, please?
Yes.
Thanks.
She's the one who submitted the letter to us on behalf of the
Block
100
Association.
17th Street
Yeah.
Block Association. Elke, while she's coming over, one issue they raised was you said yes to our question on page 5 that you were going to have an illuminated sign. Is that accurate? And what did you mean? Because a lot of illuminated signs are carefully controlled by zoning, and I'm not familiar with your particular block, but a lot of these mid-block locations, you really can't have much of an illuminated sign.
I don't understand that it's not your email, it's mine.
Right. And by
Elizabeth, can you speak to the signage? I'm not sure what your team had in mind when they answered yes to the illuminated sign.
Yes, sure. So we do have a small illuminated sign. I don't have the dimensions. It's very tasteful and not large, and within the zoning regulation.
Is it up now, or is it forthcoming?
No. We've ordered it, and it will be up hopefully within the next few weeks.
Okay. And by illuminated, is this something that is like a neon sign or illuminated from within?
No. It's like a little light box that says Peoplehood.
Okay.
And I don't remember the specific dimension, so I would be guessing here, but you could call it, I don't know, 18 inches by 6 inches, and it's a 6-inch. Again, like I don't hold me to that because I cannot say that for sure, but it attaches to the side of the facade, and it's very tasteful, and it's just an illuminated box. So, if it's 4:30 in the afternoon on a December, Friday, and somebody's looking for Peoplehood, they'll be able to find it because it's dark.
All right. Well, when Judy's moved over, we can see if that remains of concern to her.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a very pretty sign.
Yes, Judy. Hi, Judy.
Hi. Thanks very much to the whole committee for looking over the concerns that we have. Elizabeth, nice to see you. and what I would like to say, first of all, is that we're not really concerned with any many problems with Peoplehood itself. Our fear, and several people on the block have vocalized this fear, is that if Peoplehood doesn't meet their financial requirements by their current plans, that these spaces could be rented out. These are big spaces, actually, and they could be rented out in the future with almost no limitations on them. And that's why this terribly long letter I wrote to you is so full of, well, if this, if that, and protect us, please. So I wanted to make that clear that we think that the currently planned activities of Peoplehood, are going to be just fine. As far as you brought up the ADA compliance, I'm sorry, if there are no elevators, there's no way in the world that anybody who is handicapped can get up the stairs. So I think you ought to take that into consideration. This cannot be ADA compliant, except maybe for the first floor. Yeah, the garbage, because we don't have a past rat problem, we have a current rat problem. And I'm thinking, 109, 109 is surrounded by two other restaurants, and both of them do have sheds on the street. And there is no place to put trash. Now, I just wanted to ask this, if Peoplehood could possibly not use their shed for a while and let this be a place in front of Peoplehood to place trash as it's waiting for pickup, because otherwise there's no place to put it with three sheds in a row. So just something to think about, because some people on the street are very, very concerned about the trash, and we're all concerned about the rats. So that's all. I just want to reiterate that we don't see what could possibly happen in the future, and that's what scares us. So we think, at the beginning, everything will be fine. And I think Christine addressed this when she asked for numbers, because this will also set precedent for other establishments opening up on our block. And that's why it's important to us that you consider this as you are doing. Now, I'll be quiet.
Thank you. Thank you. Not for being quiet, but thank you for airing all your concerns.
You might thank me for being quiet too.
Does the applicant have a response now, or you want to hold off until later? Or because I see both Christine and Kerry have your hands up again.
Bert, we also have Pamela Wolf that would like to speak.
Pamela, you want to speak on this? Okay, go ahead.
Sure, but committee members should have the first shot. I can wait.
That's fine. Go ahead.
They had spoken already, so you haven't.
Okay. It just occurred to me, 109, I think I can be corrected on this, but I believe that's within the Ladies Mile Historic District. So whatever signage is going to happen will need to go to LPC for approval, if I'm correct in this. That was my thought. As far as the rats are concerned, that's everybody's problem is rats, and yes, garbage. There needs to be a way to contain garbage in rat-proof containers until it can be picked up. This whole project sounds to me like it's something that's quite benign, and I'm wishing them success in their effort. I hope they can pull it off. Thank you.
Okay, Christine and Kerry.
Yes, so garbage was the third thing that I forgot to talk about. So your containers are a carting company. You are going to have those metallic containers to put your garbage?
I don't know specifically off the top of my head at this moment what they are requiring of us, but we will do whatever is required with the carting company.
So because what we are requiring is that you use sealed containers to put things out as much as possible, and put it on not on the sidewalk, but put it in the street. So these are the preferred way of doing it.
Whatever the carting company wants us to do, we're going to do. And if we can do that, we will certainly look at doing it. But I have to, we're paying for somebody to come and cart our garbage, and we're gonna contain it inside of the building until garbage day comes. And then whatever time they tell us to put it out, that's what we'll do. That's what we've done in the past. That's
And
as much as I know.
if you could put it in the parking lane instead of the sidewalk, that would be great.
That seems very reasonable. But I can't tell the carting company. I mean,
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You pay them, so you can tell them.
That has not been my personal experience with carting companies, but we will do our best to work with the carting companies to make this a pleasant experience for everybody. We'll also talk to our neighbors and see what they're doing. I mean, if there's a problem, we have been in this building now for over a year. We haven't had any rodent issues, but I can understand if that's an issue for the neighborhood, then we want to be helpful and not
Okay.
bad problem.
Christine and Carrie, do you want some kind of stipulation about garbage and sanitation, or is it too vague still?
For me, it's a little vague, but I don't think we can have. I mean, I'm concerned that there are three restaurants in front, 3 sheds. And where does the garbage goes, right? And where is the hauler picking up the garbage? That seems to be a problem, but it's, if nobody else is concerned on the street, that's fine with me.
Well, no, I think we heard the Block Association is concerned, but
Right.
I guess I'm not sure we have a solution yet.
No, we don't. I mean, you could put the garbage in a metallic container at the end of the 3, at one end or the other, and put them there in the street, and that would be probably cleaner than whatever is done today.
The whole process of garbage collection is in flux, both commercial
right
and the public sanitation.
Right.
Public sanitation is now experimenting with containers for residential garbage, and commercial, the whole idea of competitive commercial collectors is over, and the city is dividing into districts where there'll be only one collector in each district. So things are changing, and the whole way of going about it is probably changing as well. Carrie?
Yeah, I just had a question. This is really for my education, and I'm not going to make it long. But if somebody has a liquor license and or a beer and wine and cider license, and they rent out a portion of their space to someone else, does that liquor license apply?
Well, it depends what you mean by rent out. The liquor license is specific to the individuals whose name are on the license and the location. So in the SLA's eyes, those individuals have to supervise any sale and service of liquor whenever it's served on those premises. So they cannot simply turn it over, say, to another company on the 3rd floor and say, you have a 6-month lease up there and you can use our liquor license. That wouldn't work. If they, invite someone in to co-host an event and the Peoplehood people are still there and supervising it, that would be permissible. But no, they cannot simply you can't rent out your liquor license along with the premises.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Okay. If there are no other committee questions, or from the community, I would entertain
Yeah.
a motion.
Yeah, 1 second, Bert. So, Elke, just one technical thing, and then I want to read the
Okay.
additional steps. On page 6, when we talk about the hours of the outdoor space, when we ask if you'll, close and vacate it no later than 10 and 11, you put not applicable. Is there some reason you're not saying yes? Since 10 and 11 are your indoor closing hours as well.
I guess because they weren't really, I think that I put not applicable because there wasn't, they're not using the roof, and the sheds would not be sort of alcohol and evening service. So I guess I can change that to yes.
Yeah, I can change that for you. And then the additional steps will be the ones we discussed. There'll be no use of roof or any rear yard space. I don't know if you have one, but just to cover that. Applicant will submit revised capacity numbers for each floor to MCB4 office no later than January 23. An applicant will notify MCB4 office by January 23 whether entrance can be made ADA compliant.
Yeah, but I can revise that on all, the questionnaire.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve
Okay.
with stipulations.
And the second was, who was the second?
Second.
Oh, I get here a couple of seconds. Okay, Tina. Okay, Jesse. Okay, all those in favor? With those stipulations? All those opposed? Present not eligible? Abstaining. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
Item number 2, now we're moving into category number 2, new liquor, wine, beer, and cider licenses. These are licenses that include liquor in addition to the wine, beer. And item number 2 on the agenda is 50 Hudson Yards. This is a 7th floor facility run by Blackstone. Okay. Lindsay? Yeah, you're the attorney, Lindsay? You're muted.
There we go. The button would not appear for me. Yes, I'm the attorney, and we also have Anthony Bonanno on behalf of Restaurant Associates.
Okay. Just for some background, both Frank and I visited the site, and yeah.
There we go.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Anthony. Hi, everyone. Just to give you an idea as to why we're here once more, we actually presented this very same application to the board back in June. And we did receive a positive recommendation, which was sent to the Liquor Authority for this very same premises. The reason why we're returning is because when we first appeared in June, we did not anticipate using any outdoor space for alcoholic beverage service or consumption. And now plans have changed, and we're adding a terrace to the premises area on the 7th floor. So we just wanted to, refresh our appearance and update you with regard to the use of that particular outdoor space. Just some background details. This particular location is for corporate catering only. It will not be open to the general public. These are corporate offices for the BlackRock financial firm. And we are licensing the entire 7th floor. However, use of this outdoor terrace will only be granted to those who rent a specific room called the Learning Center, which is within the 7th floor. You won't be able to rent out or use the outdoor terrace unless you are specifically renting that room. It's not going to be offered a la carte. And the maximum occupancy for the Learning Center room is 135 patrons. And so there would never be more than that number out on the terrace because they wouldn't be able to access the terrace. So you'll notice we do have a larger capacity written for the entire 7th floor, but that's why the capacity for this outdoor area is so low. When we conducted the on-site inspection, 2 issues were raised by the community board, so I wanted to provide responses. The first issue that was raised was if we would be able to limit the decibelage on the speakers in the outdoor area. And firstly, for those of you who didn't attend the virtual tour, there would just be potentially background level music out on the terrace, if at all. And so the answer to that is yes, we would be able to limit the decibel output on the outdoor terrace. And then the second issue is we were asked to confirm that there would not be any outdoor bars, and that is accurate. We would not be looking to add any bars in the outdoor area. I believe there are 2 bars on the 7th floor, but both are indoors. There won't be any tables or chairs outside. There is some bench seating, which we showed during the virtual tour. And there might be tables outside just for food only, but there won't be table and chair seating outside. Other than those details, Anthony and I are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Inga and Jesse?
Rick, this is the one that we saw virtually, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Inga.
Okay.
I remember going on a site visit with you, but I couldn't.
Yes, I'm looking at it going, this is the
Yes.
one I saw. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the one with the double doors so that it's, and their security, so that's
Yeah.
2 doors before you get outside, and then it's overlooking basically the sculpture at Hudson Yards. There's another terrace under it, which no one is allowed on it, so it's a second terrace. So
Correct.
there's even a buffer that sticks out farther. So as long as they keep the background music to a minimum, we did see the speakers, I'm fine with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say something that when we say terrace, I want you to imagine not a terrace that seats a couple of people. This is a building long terrace.
Bowling alley length.
Yes, it's a building long terrace. Jesse?
I think that clears it up. I just wanted to get a better sense of where it is. So it's facing the vessel.
It's actually facing the subway entrance.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's between 34th and 33rd
Yeah,
Street.
and you look at the vessel, you look at
Yeah.
you'd look at the whole plaza, and then there's another terrace below it that's juts out, so it's even farther away from anyone. There's just nothing around.
The vessel is to the south.
Okay. And I heard about, Lindsay, about the learning center. Can you just tell me and about the occupancy there? And so you're saying there can only be, at max over like 130 out on the terrace at any given time. There's no outdoor bar, limited music. It sounds fine and reasonable. I just wanted to get a sense of how often the learning center is used. I mean, basically in the summertime, is this something that you expect people will be out on the terrace? This will be a rented room every single night during the summer, and there will be people out on the terrace every single night, 7 days a week, or 5 days if it's Black Rock. I don't know. Or is this something that's just going to be more occasional than that?
Well, the learning center would be for educational seminars held at Black Rock. So it's not something where there's going to be spontaneous parties, but I think I'll let Anthony give you a bit more detail on that. He's on site, so he would be the more appropriate person to answer.
Sure, it'll be my pleasure. So Jesse and for the committee, currently, Black Rock is only going to allow access onto the terrace between the months of May and October. I personally have access throughout the building, and because it's off season, I had a hard time getting the committee on the terrace for the virtual tour, but we accomplished that. In addition to that, we're going to monitor the weather. So for example, as Lindsay mentioned, if you rent out the learning center internally, that comes with the terrace. So the terrace itself, the occupancy is 176, but we capped it at 135. And I want to also mention, if I have 10 team members out there, then that capacity gets lowered to 125. So if it's windy or there's an upcoming storm, we will make the decision to close the terrace and bring the event into the learning center. And that's the reason why Black Rock decided if you rent the learning center, you can have the terrace, but they will never ever be rented individually of each other because of weather. But it's only from May to October, and it is 5 days a week.
And
Monday-
I guess just not knowing how, use the term rent. I mean, is it actually renting? It's an internal, teams that, I assume I can just, it's a reservation. I can reserve it for my team, correct?
Right, exactly. It's so BlackRock has a system for their employees to reserve the space, I guess to say.
Right.
So it would never be rented to any outside entity, only BlackRock employees and guests of BlackRock employees only.
Okay. And I missed the virtual tours, so I didn't get but we only did a virtual tour from this committee. Is that correct? So, I mean, I just don't, I imagine this is all fine and it makes sense, especially, and I picture Hudson Yards and I think, yeah, that's all mostly commercial as it is. I mean, there is certainly, I think there's residential behind where this is. Does anyone have any sense of, I just want to make sure that we're not completely, missing something where there's a residential building right across the street and every single night during the summer,
There's nothing close. There's absolutely nothing.
All right, then I will shut up, and thank you very much for being here, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody from the community? Oh, Christine, I'm sorry. Christine, you're muted.
Inge, can you clarify, this is not facing the vessel, it's facing south, right?
No, this is facing west.
Oh, west.
Well,
Facing
yeah.
directly west.
River.
It faces, if you know, the entrance to the Flushing train, the number 7 train,
Correct.
there's a little plaza there. It faces directly onto that plaza.
Right.
So
And
it's
it runs
facing,
the,
it's facing east then?
No, it's facing west.
No, you can't be facing east, west, and, because it's 50, it's facing west.
right.
Got
And
it.
it's long. So it's like a bowling alley. It runs
Right.
the entire length. So it's,
Got it.
it's long. So you're seeing everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
No people
it.
around other than those in the plaza and the subway.
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you.
Lindsay, just to make things consistent, on page 6, there's a question, will there be no amplified music outside? And you said yes, but given this discussion, I'm going to change that to no, because you are going to have amplified music. Correct?
That's correct.
And then we'll add an additional stipulation that there'll be no bars on the outdoor terrace.
That's fine.
Okay.
Nellie, is anybody from the community?
No, there's no one with the raised hand.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
There a second?
Second.
Okay, with those stipulations, all those in favor? Those opposed? Present not eligible? And those abstaining? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you very
night.
much.
Okay, item number 7 on the agenda, 690 9th Avenue. DD.
我不说话了，我开始。Yeah,
And James, are you the attorney?
yes, I'm the representative. Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I think my client is here. David Dong.
Who will be doing the presentation? You or the applicant, James?
Yes, I'm here, and I think my client is here too. You want to bring me in? David Dong.
David is here.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. May I start?
Absolutely, go right ahead.
Yes. Okay. So let's the application. We appear for the your board 2 months ago for the beer and the wine. Right now, my client changed the mind. They want to apply for the full liquor. So this reason we notify to committee board. So the all of condition will be same. So they will open 11 to 12 o'clock, 7 days a week. So the board is already approved for 2 months ago is for the beer and the wine. Yeah, also I also condition will keep the same. We not change.
So methods of operation are completely consistent with what we approved before. Only difference is you're asking for liquor to add to your licensing.
James, when 2 months ago, you agreed to 2 additional stipulations about the sidewalk seating. And I'm assuming we can carry those over, that for any sidewalk seating, there'll be a clearance of 8 feet from the fire hydrant and that there'll be no platform on the sidewalk. Are you
Yes,
okay?
yes, we will keep it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we agree for the all of stipulation. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Christine, I see your hand is up. Unmute.
Will you also agree that the vestibule will comply with the law, which is 18 inches?
Yes. So what the condition from last 2 months ago? Yes, we agreed.
I don't know whether it was in there 2 months ago, but now I'm asking whether we will put it in. Frank, was it?
Okay.
Yeah, the vestibule, I mean, we should have a stip which says no more than 18 inch, right?
You're referring to the outdoor vestibule
Yes.
that some restaurants use in the winter. Okay.
So James, are you okay with that? If you put up one of those plastic things around the front door, it can only stick out onto the sidewalk 18 inches. Are you okay with that?
David, answer it. For me, it's okay. Yeah.
I think David's shaking his head yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Any other committee questions? Community, Nellie?
There's no one with a raised hand.
Okay, then I entertain a motion with those stipulations.
Motion to approve.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Present not eligible. Okay, thank you.
Good night. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you.
Happy. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. And moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, 626 10th Avenue, Store B, Chef Jamico.
Michael Kelly representing the applicant. Jamal Salam Nishuli is the applicant. He's here with us.
Yes.
This is a non-premise liquor license application for Chef Jamico Inc., doing business as Senza Gluten by Jamico. We're located at 626 10th Avenue, Store B, and the spot formerly occupied by Privy. Privy had a non-premise liquor license from 3/18 to its recent closure. We're a full-service, entirely gluten-free restaurant. Our hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. We'll be doing lunch, breakfast, and dinner. The C of O says 125, but the premise cannot hold that many people. We will have 24 tables with 48 seats and a 12-seat bar inside for an occupancy of 60. All seating is on the 2,000 square foot first floor. There is storage in the basement and some prep. We have a backyard like the former licensee with 7 tables and 14 seats. We will be using umbrellas with sound absorbing material to muffle noise. We counted 34 seats in the yard that the former occupant left, but Jamico or Jamal thinks that having that many seats back there will make it way too noisy. We will only serve couples in the back to avoid larger crowds sitting together, which can get noisier. We're looking to put 4 tables and 16 seats against the building under the open restaurant seating program, that they would be on the sidewalk. We'll be using 4 feet of the sidewalk for this seating. If groups of 4 or more come to eat outside, they will sit there instead of the backyard. The sidewalk is 20 feet, 2 inches in width. There is a tree pit that is over 13 feet away from the seating area, and a bike rack, which we'll be using for our delivery bikes, that is 14 plus feet away. The former licensee had a sidewalk cafe that extended out at least 7 feet and had 19 seats. All outdoor areas will be closing by 10 p.m. on Sunday, or Sunday to Thursday, and 11 PM on Friday and Saturday. We may in the future put in a street shed, but we don't know at this time. We're waiting for the city to come out with the rules, and then we'll decide, one, if they are still allowed, two, if it was worth it. We see no more than 6 tables and 24 seats in that shed if we go ahead. If we do build a shed, there'll be distance between the sheds that are on either side of us, which we can put the sealed containers of garbage out. Jamal is currently licensed at Senza Gluten, 206 Sullivan Street, which has had an on-premise liquor license since 2015, and Senza Gluten Cafe and Bakery that has a restaurant wine license since 2018. He's currently doing a corporate change with the other owner who'll be taking over the restaurant, and he'll be keeping the bakery. He will have a manager at the bakery, and Jamal will devote all his time to the new venture, which will be 50+ hours per week. There'll be background music inside and no music outdoors. Jamal has many awards, certificates, and training in gluten-free foods that he'll be bringing to this new venture. He, his wife, and his daughter have been out talking to numerous people in the area. They did get 8 full-time residents in the building to sign a petition, and others from the area. It seems like a lot of people in the building are not full-time residents, but are staying a week or two. He did talk to a lot of them. They weren't signing. I did notify all the block associations on the CB4 list, and James at the Piano Factory and the main email for the Piano Factory. I did not hear back from anyone. We also posted the meeting notice on our door, the residential door, and other places on the block and both corners. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, Michael, just to make the form consistent with what you said, on page 6 about the outdoor space, there's a question that says, will there be no amplified music? I realize the question's in the negative, but you're not going to have any amplified music outdoors, correct?
No music outdoors at all.
Okay, so I'm going to change that answer to yes. Yes, there will be no outdoor music.
Okay.
Thanks.
I see one committee member with their hands raised, Christine. And then Christine, you took your hand down?
Yeah.
So now we on Tina.
Hi
Still
there.
one committee member.
Yeah.
Tina.
You mentioned a backyard space. I'm curious how many people will be sitting in that backyard space. I know you mentioned it.
Yes, we would have 7 tables and 14 seats.
And I haven't been to your place, unfortunately. Are there residents that live above that area?
Yes.
Okay, I have to say, I always get concerned when you have an outdoor space and there are residents directly above.
Yes, there was a backyard before, and Jamal was out talking to people in the building. He got 8 signatures from people. The petition does say we were going to have a backyard. He's also going to invest in umbrellas that have sound absorbing material. And the reason we're only having 2-seaters back there is so you don't have a group of 4 or 6 together, which become much louder.
But what are your hours in the backyard?
The backyard would be closing at 10 PM during the week and 11 PM during the weekends.
And what time are you opening the backyard?
We would be opening for breakfast, possibly.
At what time?
8 AM.
So Tina, you may be getting at what the steps were for the prior operator here, because they were strangely specific, and I was trying to figure out the source of them. Le Privé, the prior operator, agreed to the following: the rear yard will not open to customers or staff before 4:30 PM Monday to Friday and before 10:30 AM Saturday and Sunday. Rear yard will be closed and vacated no later than 9 PM Sunday, Thursday, and 10 PM Friday and Saturday. And the capacity was slightly smaller. It was 4 tables and 12 seats. Now, Nellie and I have been trying to figure out if these came about because of resident issues or committee members, and none of us can recall. All we know is that's what we ended up with 5 years ago for the prior operator.
So are you willing to go along with the same prior steps?
Jamal?
Well, maybe we should do it this way. Why don't we, Tina, why don't we see if anyone from the community is here to speak on this? And then, let's see, because as Michael said, they did get 8 signatures of support from people in the building right upstairs.
Okay.
So I don't see any other
Then
committee
we can
members.
circle back.
Christine, now you have your hand up. And Carrie.
Yeah, now I do. Thank you, Tina, for your questions. I didn't see anywhere whether you were mentioning the music outside.
There's no music outside.
Okay. Does it say that somewhere? It's just
Yeah,
okay.
wait, I
yeah,
changed-
on the list. Yes, I got it.
I changed the answer on the form and we're adding an additional
Yes,
step.
right.
No music.
But I agree. I think I remember 5 years ago, I mean, neighbors from the piano factory had been concerned and the committee was very concerned. I would say that if we have 8 signatures, people are going to think that this is the same method of operation than before. I'm sure they didn't dive into what is the new method of operation. So that would be
Christine, I think you're confusing this with a spot in the next block. which
No, I don't. I'm not.
The piano factory's on 46th Street. This is between 44 and 45.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a mid-block place in the next block that the piano factory was very concerned about. But that
Right.
was
You're right.
45
You're
and
right. That's right.
46.
We did include the hours of the backyard on the petition that we wrote.
Oh, you
So-
did? Okay, good.
So people were aware of what they were signing for.
Right. That's what he says.
Carrie?
I have the same concerns that Tina had. I was going to ask the same question about hours. I would like to know if you would agree to the stipulations, at least for the hours of that were there previous, and maybe the capacity can be increased to what you're looking for. But I'm curious to know if you would stipulate to the hours, because I think having a residential courtyard is really difficult for residents. So I'm curious if you would stipulate to opening later and closing a little bit earlier, just the
That was
outside
The
space.
previous steps, the previous hour.
Exactly.
Let's, like Frank suggested, let's hear if there's anybody from the community, and then John, if you want to respond. Nellie?
Yes, we have 2 people, David Stewart and Marcia.
Okay. Could you bring them over? Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, both David and Marcia are here. They were.
They are here.
There you are, Marcia. And I thought I had seen David. There's David. Either one of you, go right ahead.
David, do you want to go first?
Go ahead, Marcia.
Okay, I am not on the block, but I wanted to attend the meeting and speak because I am a 7-year resident down the street in Hell's Kitchen, but I also am a patron of Chef's since he opened. And I have to tell you that I started to cry when I saw the announcement that they were going to open in Hell's Kitchen, because there is nothing like this in our neighborhood. And there is nothing like this relative to the way Chef and his family of employees take care of the people who come to their establishment and consider themselves community members and neighbors. I am a celiac. I'm an anaphylactic shock celiac. I want to tell you how many restaurants in New York I can go to without an EpiPen. Senza Gluten Bakery. They're the only places that I actually can not have to hold my breath for a minute and see what's going to happen to me and have my EpiPen under my leg or right next to me in the bag, at the top of the bag, after I take a couple of bites of something. And there are other great places in Hell's Kitchen, like Friedman's does a wonderful job. 5 Napkin Burger does a great job. But those are also places that serve gluten as well. And so I essentially, in order to have the ability to have a social experience and be fed by someone outside of my own home, I kind of take my life in my hands, and I'm not exaggerating, every single time that I go out. And I am one example, a severe example of an immediate response of a celiac to gluten. But this is the most tremendous thing in Midtown for people who don't have accessibility to all the wonderful things that New York offers. And the difference for me between this and something else is exactly how community oriented and how just not just warm and welcoming, but concerned about their impact on anybody that walks in their door or is around them, that this team of people have shown me that they were. During the pandemic, they made things happen so that we could order frozen products and come in and get them, et cetera, or have them delivered to us. But to give you an example of how they care for people, I had COVID for the first time in October. I had gotten this far without having left the city through any of it. And Chef found out that I had COVID and DM'd me on Instagram and said, Marcia, we are so worried about you. Can we bring you, can we bring you dinner? And I said, well, you can't because no one delivers from you to me. But I appreciate it so much and I'll be in when I'm well. And he insisted, he said, I'm going to be leaving for the day soon. Tell me your order. We're going to bring you food. I'm going to bring it myself on my way home. So on a Saturday night, that man delivered food for me that was enough food for a week, to take care of me for a week. In the rain after he had worked all day. So I have all the faith in the world in having been in that environment and having been willing with an autoimmune disease to go and eat there in person throughout the pandemic. The way that they manage themselves, the way that they manage and ask the people who come in to manage themselves, because they're very specific. You're not allowed to bring gluten inside their restaurant. You can't bring something else in because they don't want to contaminate and make anyone be in danger. And so I'm very comfortable. I've eaten in their outdoor space and how they handle that and how they social distance with that. And I do feel very strongly that even though I don't have a family, I recognize that this is the kind of establishment that a lot of people who have children who have either peanut allergies or dairy allergies or are celiacs are going to be able to come into. And so I get the concern about the backyard space and for the neighbors, and please believe me, I'm very interested. I'm on a second floor, front facing. I'm always very interested in what's going on below me in my building as well. I also feel that that they'll be very sensitive to this, and I'd be comfortable being above them. Actually, if anybody knows an opening, I would live right above them. I've thought about over the last year or two, would I move into the West, would I move? And one of the things I've thought about is, well, I wouldn't mind being closer to the restaurants who could feed me. So now they've come to me. And so I just wanted to, as somebody who has really a ton of experience with them as a business and how they represent and how they follow through as human beings, I just wanted to show up today. And if I can answer anyone's questions about, my experience, I'm happy to do that as well, or at a later date too, because I really do. I would stake my reputation on Chef and his team being better for the community and doing whatever would have to be done at any given time to make sure that they were not inconveniencing or making anything in the community less than.
Thank you, Marcia.
For letting me
Thank
say
you.
something.
David?
Yeah, hi, everybody. My name is David Stewart. I'm the president of the 45th and 46th Street Block Association. I appreciate the great presentation, so thank you for that. It was very clear. One of the things that I think our community always runs into is, with outdoor seating is if there is an issue, it's often hard. It's left up to the community to kind of like maneuver our way and find our way. Like, how do we address it? How do we solve it? Who do we contact? So I think, I'm not sure why the backyard steps were as they were. I don't recall any issues with Leprive when they were there about noise from the neighbors. But if you guys would agree, if you wouldn't mind, whoever the management and owners are, if we could have your email and cell phones on file, that way, we can reach out if any of the folks on the block association say anything, then we have a way to contact you and solve that problem, very quickly with a phone call. So if that makes sense, we'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Jamal, do you want to respond to the question about the backyard and the hours?
Wait a second, Bert. It looks like someone else had raised their hand.
Oh.
The public, although maybe put it down.
We have two more people.
Oh, we do?
There's
Okay.
Stephanie and Tommaso.
Okay, thanks, Nellie.
Thank you for hearing from me tonight. I just wanted to speak quickly in support of this application. As a longtime resident, I'm kind of wondering if the rear yard stipulations are a holdover from the beer garden that was there a few years ago, which is a little bit rowdier of a crowd than I think a breakfast location. But Marcia very acutely captured, I think, the feelings that we all feel for those of us that have dietary restrictions. And so I'm grateful for the interest in Hell's Kitchen, and I just wanted to voice loudly my support for this application. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your email, which we also received.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Go ahead.
I'm a resident. I've been a resident for many, many years of the neighborhood, and it's always great when a nice restaurant joins the neighborhood. And I have a curiosity regarding the number of people who signed up the petition in favor. I know it was said it was 8 people. I wonder, that's 8 people out of how many who are overlooking that courtyard?
There's 30 residents in the building, but Jamal was talking to a lot of people coming out of the building, and a lot of people seem to be short-term residents, meaning a week or two. They were pulling up in Ubers with suitcases. So we don't know really how many full-time residents are there, but he did post a notice on the door of the apartment building with his phone number on it, with the hours, what we were doing in the backyard. And we didn't get any other responses. But him, his wife, and daughter were out there for days.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else coming out? Nellie?
No, there's no one else.
Okay.
Oh, no, Inga.
Yes, I see Inga's hand is up.
Yeah, so the other stipulated hours for the previous applicant were 4:30 in the afternoon.
During the week.
Opening no earlier than 4:30 on weekdays, 10:30 on Saturday and Sunday, which I assume was for brunch, and then closing 9 p.m. Sunday to Thursday and 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. And those were not carried over from Hello Berlin, because I checked that. These were specifically negotiated with Le Privé. I just don't remember the circumstances.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I remember the no, but I think after hearing everyone speak about the applicants and even, residents and neighbors, I think they should be allowed to have breakfast. I mean, maybe not 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe a later start. The 10:30 sounds good. 10 o'clock, I don't know. I don't think we should, that would hinder them to not be able to serve breakfast or lunch. At least, 10:30 across the board, or
well, Inga, we're only talking about the tables out back. We're not
the back.
talking
Yeah.
inside or the sidewalk cafe.
Yeah. I mean, okay, whatever anyone wants, but I don't think they would be a problem with the backyard opening, for brunch.
Yeah, I think 10 Oops, I second what you're
Yeah.
saying. I think 10:30 as a start across
Yeah.
the board would be reasonable.
Thank you. I do too.
So you're suggesting 10:30 every day to open up?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And then also the earlier closing times, 9 and 10 instead of 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
How is that?
I
for you,
support
Gemma?
that.
Okay, I guess we have to see what the applicant thinks.
Right.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much for this opportunity. This is Chef Jamiko Jamal Salomnishvili. Definitely, I will follow anything you're saying about the community and the neighborhood, and we will follow these hours, what's being mentioned, or opening a little late and closing around 9 or whatever hours you mentioned. And, I think, right, Mike? That's
Yes.
the hours work, right?
Yeah, 9 during the week and 10 on the weekends. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and opening no earlier than 10:30 every day.
Yes.
Thank you.
In the
Thank
backyard.
you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
just in the
much.
backyard. Thank you.
Okay.
Michael, on the STIP form, you didn't circle any music inside. I assume there'll be background music inside?
Background, yes. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Change that.
Is there anything else on this, on the form, Frank, that catches your eye?
No, I'll just read the additional STIPs when we're ready to go.
Okay. I think we're ready to go.
Okay, so these will be the additional STIPs. Rear yard will not open to customers and staff before 10:30 a.m. daily. Rear yard will be closed and vacated no later than 9 p.m. Sunday to Thursday and 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. All rear yard tables will be for 2 patrons only. Tables will not be combined for larger groups, and there will be no music or amplified sound in any outdoor space.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconds. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Abstaining? Present not eligible. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Item number 5 on our agenda. 627 11th Avenue, Tri-Alpha Inc. Okay, we've gotten many community responses on this. If you want to say something about, you also did a site visit.
Yes, I did a site visit. I took some photos which were posted in the Dropbox, and there are also some photos attached to the applicant STIP form.
Okay. Questions comments from?
Well, wait, should we hear a presentation?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we had. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm the attorney, Vivian, for the applicant. So
Sorry, Vivian. Sorry.
How are you? Hi, Community Board 4. Special thank you to Nellie for getting us situated on here. I'll just briefly tell a little bit about the venue, and then I'll introduce the actual applicants and let them sit in the hot seat with you guys. All right, so the corporate name is Tri-Alpha, but the DBA would be Magnitude. So I know we're hitting you guys with everything you don't want to hear right now. Magnitude aims to provide Hell's Kitchen with an inclusive, safe, and friendly night venue that showcases cutting-edge, high-energy music trends and talented DJs. It will be a unique nightclub with fun activities besides drinking and dancing, such as a tarot card reading room, a small goods leather shop, and a gift shop. We will also occupy what is currently a vacant space at the moment. This space was previously a Lexus car dealership and is unlikely to be used by any business other than a car dealership. The building is too large to be rented as office space, not only because more companies are choosing remote work, but because of the high rent. This space is likely to remain vacant on a block with a car wash and strip club in an area of NYC that is somewhat desolate and away from residential buildings. In fact, there are no residential buildings on the same block. It is in the public's best interest to not let this space remain vacant, and for the tenant to be an entity that brings an added layer of security to the neighborhood. Magnitude adds security to the area with a bright, lively nightclub in an area where a nightclub should be, away from residences. There are just 3 bars and 2 other nightclubs within 500 feet of this location. Magnitude seeks to double as a safe haven for those walking in the area late at night. Digital cameras will be installed in the establishment, both inside and outside and at all entry points. The cameras will constantly be monitored and recorded. The owners of Magnitude have significant industry experience. I'll let them speak again in just a moment, and plan to hire employees directly from Hell's Kitchen community. They also prefer to use the building as it is, doing little to no construction on the interior and using what's already in place. The diagrams show how Magnitude will utilize the small rooms for offices and unique activities, as I mentioned above. One thing before I turn the mic over, we did meet with the Block Association, and I know I guess some of their members are here. And when we talked about security, adding security, hiring from the neighborhood, they immediately, seemed to say that we weren't being honest with them about that. And they based that on what other clubs have done that have come before you guys. And I would just ask to please, even if you're set on saying no, please keep an open mind to what we are saying and don't judge us based on what other clubs have done, because we are coming to you as honest people. And I can't really control what, another club has told you in the past that we have nothing to do with or any sort of affiliation with. So I'd like to introduce.
Vivian, before you go on, I do want to address one thing you say, because this did bother me. You're calling it a non-residential area, and you say there are no residential buildings on your block. When I and the Block Association visited you, we pointed out that there's a residential building catty corner across the street from you. It's not on your block, but It is diagonally across the street. And I think it is being not fully forthcoming to say that there are no residential buildings in this area and to stress your block when there's one just diagonally across the street.
But it is just as you said, there are not any residential buildings on our block. It's a strip club and a car wash, and no one's trying to pull the wool over your eye or anything like that. Again, you visited.
The facts on that will speak for themselves.
Right. I think the closest to us, as you guys pointed out, is Gotham West, which is a couple.
No,
blocks.
it's the one to the it's the one to the north. It's
I know what
diagonally
you're talking about.
across.
Yes, no, but it's not on our block. So me
That
saying
is
it's
literally
not on our
true,
block
yeah.
is not inaccurate. And it's not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You guys are in the neighborhood. I know that you know your neighborhood. It's nothing like that going on. I would like to let a representative on behalf of the landlord, the owner of the building, have a chance to speak. Bruno, do you have anything you'd like to add before Serge speaks?
Yes, hi, everybody. I want to say something about that building, which is actually that's a northeast corner. It's a it's a mixed-use building. It's a half office building, and after 6th floor to 12th, there's a residential, which also is facing the different side of the street. There's a few things I want to mention altogether, so I don't know if somebody wants to start it before. I wanted to mention supermarket as something that you mentioned that you would like to have there. Me as a real estate professional and me dealing with a lot of supermarkets so far, I recommended place as a supermarket. So for that high rent, they don't consider that as a residential enough area to cover that rent. That's the first thing. So from now on, in next I don't know how many years, you're going to be able to get some big supermarket who can pay that rent. Other than that, I want to mention something about ex-Pasha that somebody from the board said that why you guys don't take this place. The reason why nobody can take that space right now, it's owner of that, which is Rob Gans, who owns 11 buildings not in that block, but in Manhattan. And in that block, I think he owns half of it. He's in bankrupt since June 11, 2022. Basically owns the banks over $6 million. He filed a bankruptcy. So what's going to happen with that building, including the one on 49th and West Side Highway? No, actually 45th and West Side Highway. We don't know in the next 5 years what's going to happen there. Other than that, I think what they mentioned also, the problem with the traffic, how people are going to get home. I really want to mention one thing here. This club, I'm not sure. Are you aware of it? This is going to be a gay population club. So that's something what I feel the population of gay people in New York City is in the West Side, starting from Chelsea, going to Hell's Kitchen, which that's their residential spot, I would say. Other than that, somebody who's paying tickets $100 up to be in this space is definitely getting Uber, not getting to the 7th Avenue to use any trains or subways. Other than that, I'm not sure what else I can add here, but I'm here for any questions.
Sorry, see, are you the owner of the building or?
No, I'm representing owner and the potential tenant.
Okay, because one question we checked with the Department of Buildings, who said that the use of this currently is for an auto dealership and that no one had applied for or talked to them about a potential change of use. Do any of you have any idea if this kind of use was, I take it you've not talked to the Department of Buildings yet about this use?
It's a full commercial use right now. It's a zoning for commercial. Yep.
Sorry, I just want to add that, no, we have not. However, there is a certificate of occupancy from 1978 that shows that use group 12 was actually on the certificate of occupancy. So at one point, a long time ago, it was designated under use group 12, which it's actually for live entertainment, large entertainment venues such as skating rinks, or I forgot the other example, but a large entertainment venue that attracts a lot of people is what use group 12 is.
Okay, I would, do we have the applicants here themselves? Because I would like to hear from an applicant.
Serge would like to speak on behalf of the applicants.
What do you mean on behalf?
Well, Sergio is one of the applicants, but there's three. So we have Sergio here. He's I'm sorry, Serge, to throw you under. He's not great with computers, so he has his friend Omar Garcia who helped him jump on the Zoom call. So you see him on your screen as Omar Garcia, but this is actually Sergio. Sergio, are you on mute? Can you?
I'm not on mute. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you go.
All right. Thank you for listening to us. And I really hope that after I explain our entire process and what we're trying to do with this property, it's a large property. Everybody exaggerates the size of it. The ground floor is 20,000 square feet, but there really is only about 14,000 square feet that's going to be usable space. There's going to be 8 separate little shops that are already built in the property that were originally glassed off offices for the car dealerships, which are absolutely ideal for a tarot card reading shop, for a leather shop, for a gift shop, or a t-shirt shop, and which we intend not to lease out. We intend to run it ourselves. I'm a firm believer of being, hands-on in charge of everything that we do. The property itself, for the people here that are not familiar with it, it takes up most of the block. We have a car wash on one side that has car traffic going in from 11th Street, exiting out on 46th Street. Right past the 46th Street exit where their cars would exit, there are 2 very large overhead garage doors, one of which will be our main entrance, which will relieve, because of the length of the building and the tunnel that it goes through, because the building itself, if you look at it, it's not a square. It's got a wing to it. That I anticipated on putting an entranceway at least 50 feet in. So large crowds, if they do gather, which we hope they will be inside our building, not on the sidewalks, not roped off like you see many other clubs. From the front entrance, there are 2 entrances. There's a handicap entrance all the way to the north part of the property. that'll be available for people coming to the main bar. The main bar is going to be a 60-seat bar in the front. On the same level, there will be a dance floor and there'll be seating. That'll open up in the later parts of the evening inside the building. There's a very large elaborate staircase that goes to the roof. The roof for some reason becomes an issue, but the roof would not be an issue for sound. We've talked to some engineers. As a matter of fact, on Thursday, our attorney Vivian and some new sound engineers are meeting with us. They've looked at this project and they're going to discuss different ways that we can keep the sound levels to whatever, decibels this committee would require us to be at after 10 o'clock, before 10 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, whatever you ask us to do. We're going to try to comply to it, and we're going to do their best to comply to it. But there's many different ways. We heard earlier about sound holding umbrellas. Yes, that's one way of doing it. But I built a lot of buildings for beach bar buildings for the casinos, and putting sound insulation inside gazebos in the ceilings, just in the ceilings alone, really muffles the sound and keeps it from traveling. Because there's, in Atlantic City, which is where I'm from, outside the area, I've done 33 years of work with the casinos, and I know a lot about this. So we're willing to do whatever it takes to make this project succeed. It's a wonderful property. There's not a lot of other people that are going to be able to utilize this property other than what we have in mind. Getting back up to the rooftop, which is everybody was also concerned about, up there, we're going to have 2 food wagons, trailer style, one for pizza, one for cheesesteaks. Downstairs, we're going to have a kitchen. There is a kitchen there already. We're going to have that for servicing the bar. The biggest construction cost that we're going to do is adding restrooms, toilets, for the clientele, for the occupancy. But again, it's downstairs. It's 20,000 square foot floor plan, but it's only going to be utilizing 14,000 square feet of it, which really limits the overwhelming size of this building. As far as security, if you go back to, other than, terrorism, which, it's sad to say that it exists, in this country other than other countries, but the gay bars, and I've operated quite a few of them down the shore and owned them for quite a few years. And we've never had any issues with police, with fighting, with shootings, with stabbings. So this is what I bring to the table here. And I really hope that, this committee would be a little more, understanding to see that this is a project that would be good for the community. It'll be safe, it'll be sound, sound. And like Bruno said, our realtor, most of our clientele is going to Uber it or take taxis where they have their cars. And as far as parking, you got the entire Intrepid parking lot that's available. They say, oh, someday they're going to change it. Well, today is today, someday is someday. So, I'll leave it up to you guys. I'd appreciate if you could do something for us.
Thank you. Vivian, are you finished in your presentation?
I'm finished. We are indeed meeting on Thursday with some sound engineers, some experts in the field of near field monitoring. I brought this up at the Block Association. They said, oh, that's just fancy words, but it's not just fancy words. It's consistently a problem where sound travels. So tech companies have come up with solutions. Near field monitoring is the latest in tech. And we're meeting with experts in the field on Thursday to discuss how to make sure the sound stays where it should stay.
Okay, thank you. We have now.
I want to bring one more thing to your attention that I failed to mention right now. That rooftop has 12-foot high walls, concrete walls, 3/4 of the way around the roof. And with that alone, with just awnings coming off of it that would extend, 16 feet from each one of those walls, that would act as a roof. I've spoken to people, and that's where we're going to speak to these sound engineers. There's a company in Germany that manufactures these retractable awnings, and they would muffle and redirect the sound. And we're not looking to have rock concerts on the roof, but we also don't want to be limited to not to have background music or any kind of music up there. So, go ahead, Vivian. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, I see Jesse, Christine, and Kerry.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I do have a lot to say and some questions on the subject. So first I'll just say, I just start with the basic question. So to confirm your ambitions with this rooftop capacity of 2,000 people is to play amplified sound that is significantly amplified because it's a concert venue, and have people up on the roof dancing and partying as a concert venue would. I just want to be clear that that's how you're envisioning use of this roof, regardless of sound design, sound engineers, what you can do, but that is how you're envisioning use of this roof. Is that accurate?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And I'm sorry if we gave that impression. We would like to be able to use the roof as a gathering place. We do not want to be, we don't want you guys to say absolutely no music at all. We would like some sort of music up there, but we would like to work with the community board to determine what will be acceptable.
Okay.
So I want to add something for the roof. I'm sorry. Regarding the roof, just want to add something that also that's a smoking area as well, because we don't want to have people on the street smoking.
Okay. I appreciate that answer. Obviously, that does clarify some things in my mind. That being said, I do think you showing up this evening is premature if use of that roof is something that is necessary for your business plan, because I cannot see this committee moving forward in any way without a robust sound test and sound plan. I encourage this committee to look at Frank's picture number 3 to get a sense of where sound might be emanating on this rooftop, regardless of what's nearby. I also, I really do want to separate and say, if you were here talking about just a club on 11th Avenue, an indoor club, I think our committee discussion would go one way, and we could talk about what that might do for the community in terms of security, in terms of bringing foot traffic to the area. I do think some of your points are valid and well taken. The rooftop is a significant concern to me, and points made by some who I imagine are attending this evening, but were written by the block associations in letters to us, specifically pointing out the possible how your plan for this rooftop could impede our community board's affordable housing plan, seeing as a number of buildings in the area are targeted for potential housing development. And I certainly would not want the existence of a rowdy club on a rooftop to stop developers from going in and developing those buildings. I think that would be a real tragedy. So regardless, I just think you're here prematurely. There's no way I'm prepared to vote without a sound study, without seeing actual designs of how you plan on limiting. And I do take you at your word, by the way, Serge. I'm not trying to say that you're coming in here with bad faith. I do take you at your word that you've done this before, that you know how to limit sound. I just can't move forward until I've seen precisely how you're going to do it. And it would be wildly irresponsible for us to vote without that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Christine.
Yes, everything that Jesse says, plus, I think he very well expressed our concern. In addition, you just mentioned the garage door to be the main entrance to the club. Is that what I heard properly?
The garage door will be for the nighttime venue. That way there will be no crowds.
That's an entrance, right?
It's an entrance. There's going to be, there's actually 3 main entrances to the building.
Right. So that entrance, if it's a garage door, that means that all the sound which is inside the building is going to
No.
to leave by that entrance.
No, there'll be another set of doors 50 feet past the garage door, double doors entering the club.
So you are going, when you hire your consultant for noise, you are going to get them also to test the doors?
Yes, absolutely.
So that we understand what is going to come in and out of the store. And then you said, I think, you want to play any kind of music on the roof. And I think that's significant in our context. And finally, you're saying you want to have 2,000 people on the roof. Generally, our guideline is on the roof. We want to have people sitting and not standing. So
Well,
Yeah.
the seating capacity on the roof, what we had planned is going to be, there's going to be 60 feet along the wall, 60 seatings along the wall, and 150 seats around umbrellas, and then probably about 6 gazebos. That's what I envision.
so that sounds like 250 people sitting, right?
Well, it's sitting, yes, and then the rest,
Yeah.
you know.
So that's
Christine, could you just keep making your statements? 'Cause I'd rather than have a back and
okay.
forth.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is my other concern for the roof. And just a statement I'd like to make is that we spend hours in this committee over the years resolving issues of people listening to music from rooftop around 11th Avenue. Hours, days. So you are talking to a group of people which have really suffered from that kind of club. And really, we have been able to mitigate those issues and really kind of close those places. And it's not something that we look forward to reopen.
Okay, thank you. Carrie.
Thank you. What Jesse and Christine said, plus, you mentioned, excuse me, the roof as a gathering place. Is there a bar on the roof?
Well, we would like to put a bar, but it's not the main issue. If we cannot put a bar up there, we're not going to do it. But cocktails will be served up there.
So you mean wait staff cocktails?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
I'd like not to be restricted from, if I want to put a bar up there, but if that's a, if that's a
We'll
deal
have to
breaker,
consider
then,
that. We have many things to consider, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Carrie, could you finish?
Yes. And my last question, which is a little different, is about the security plan that you provided. I feel the same way about the sound study as I do about a security plan. I don't feel like what you provided was necessarily adequate. It was just that you will have trained staff to call the police if there's a problem. Did you do a security plan, like with a outside security company?
No, this is the beginning stages of this project right now. But if that's what you require, that's what we will do. But the security staff will be our own.
I think
I would, like Jesse asked for a sound study, I would feel more comfortable as well if you had a
Absolutely.
security
No
plan
problem.
in place before we voted on this.
it was an important word that Jesse used to describe the application. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, but you said premature?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, is there anyone else on the committee that has something to say? From the community, Nellie?
We have 2 people. We have Steve Belita and Alka Fears.
Okay, please bring them over.
Hey, everybody. Steve Belita, co-chair of HK 4954 Block Association. We attended the 47th, 48th Block Association meeting and asked anyone in our group to attend because Elka was kind enough to let us be part of that because our meeting's not till the end of the month and they were coming before you in beginning of January. Some of Vivian's comments, I just want to make clear. Nobody said asking them about sound engineering nobody turned around and said, oh, that's just fancy talk, what you're saying. They really came unprepared for this meeting. They're answering questions now that were brought up to them, such as, how are you going to deal with 2,500 people? And I believe that's what they have on the rooftop. They don't have 2,000, they have 2,500. How are you going to deal with 2,500 people with sound up there? And then coming up with an answer that we're going to put a gazebo up or put up sun umbrellas. We've had issues as Frank's, I believe it was Frank, who said with 11th Avenue, getting the noise all the way over to 10th Avenue and between 9th and 10th Avenue, so many blocks away. Vivian made the same point about no residential buildings on the block. That's kind of playing around with words, isn't it? I mean, there's a residence right across the street. Who's going to hear the noise the most? the people across the street. The 12-foot wall up around the club, that's just going to act as an echo chamber. So that they've done nothing about sound. We asked them about parking. They said, oh, well, the Intrepid will let us do it. We were told Intrepid isn't going to let them do it. That may have changed. I don't know, but we were told that's not the case. And there's other residential areas around. Just because you're not on the block or directly in front of them doesn't mean you're not going to hear 2,500 people. Uber bringing everybody over there, 25 plus another 2,000 downstairs. That's 4,500 people. We brought up about the amount of traffic that will be there, or the inundation of people on our blocks trying to get to subways. So I agree with what Jesse said. They don't have, even after they came to our block association, the 47th, 48th Street Block Association last week, they don't have answers to a lot of these issues that are going to really impact the neighborhood in a very negative way. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Elka Fears. I'm president of the West 47th, 48th Street Block Association. Hi, guys. We met. Thank you for the tour. Hello, committee. Thank you for attending our block meeting. So as Steve said, it was kind of a contentious meeting. We had some people go a little nuts, but the end result is that this size venue in an area that is across the street from a residential area, Vivian, it's a little disingenuous to say your block exactly, when you have a brand new building on the northeast corner of 47th Street. The Gotham West is a block and a half away. The residents between 11th and 10th are a building away. It's, you know, there are loads of residents, and we all who live in Hell's Kitchen know how sound travels. I mean, from a backyard, it can be, you know, goes up, it goes north, west, east, whatever. So, and then the sheer size. Now, when we first talked, it was thousands. Now you've kind of adjusted to lower. So I don't know. The other thing that we haven't talked about is that address, as far as I know, didn't have a liquor license to it before. So Frank, I don't know when you looked up the C of O, whether there was one, but if not, you know, this block association hates to give out, you know, have more liquor licenses in an area that almost, you know, there are 5 or 6 restaurants, bars on every block that have liquor licenses. So, as I say, our most important and relevant issue is the sheer size, and that you're right across the street from the residential area. And again, as we are really hoping that the Ogilvy building will turn residential. So that would be directly across the street. And if I don't know who would want to buy or rent across the street from a club that has an open roof. So thank you. But thank you for coming.
Wait, may I just say?
Thank you. We still have some more people from the community there, Vivian.
Well, can I just quickly just say one thing? I would never, I am not in any way by saying on that block trying to come across as disingenuous or deceiving or anything like that. I really do mean factually on that block. I'm not trying to.
The point was made, like
Okay.
you made that point.
I really don't, I hate hearing that because that's just not my.
But that's the
okay. But we're going on from there. Are you from the community, Uta?
Yes, I am. Hi,
Oh,
good evening.
Go ahead. Hi.
I live on 46th Street, not on 11th Avenue, and I'm thankful for that. That's a pretty monster project. I guess I just would like to say that we had a club on 46th Street between 11th and 12th before it turned into some sort of event space, but that was shut down because of COVID. And even though I never attended that club, and I did go clubbing when I was younger here in New York, but it was a complete different neighborhood. I remember going for a jog at like 7 a.m. down to the river. And in front of that club, there were like drug addicts hanging out, sleeping on the street. There was vomit everywhere. There were flyers dirt. It was a mess. And thinking that there will be about 4,000 people in a neighborhood which has changed so much since back in the early 2000s, I find that very problematic. I'm also here for another applicant, but I want to say that because I'm living right here. So thanks.
Anybody else, Nellie?
No, there's no one else.
Okay, Bert, I just want to make some observations, and some of this is context for the newer members. And Christine alluded to this. There are a large number of licensed venues, some very huge in this neighborhood already, and at least 5 that have been huge venues that are not presently licensed. But within 500 feet, there's the Cantina Rooftop with a capacity of 1,100. That's at 605 West 48th. There's the Hudson NY, which has a capacity of 600. There is the Mercantile with a capacity of 1,400. There is the Press Lounge on top of the Ink Hotel. And beyond that, as I think one of the applicants said, there was this major club space, Pasha, which is currently closed, but that had a capacity of 2,600. There's some massive venues here. And as Ula just said, when you went down there on a weekend, and this was years ago, there'd be cars and lines of people and food trucks around trying to serve all these people. The notion of adding any club to this location that has only become more residential really troubles me. Christine alluded to the fact that we had huge problems with the existing clubs. We don't know, we never figured out if it was the Press Lounge rooftop in the hotel or other places. There was a lot of finger pointing going on, but they were bothering people, at the Gotham West building, which was further away than this location would be. So adding a mega club space to here really bothers me. Second, when I saw this rooftop, my jaw dropped. I have never seen a bigger rooftop space in Manhattan. Now there may be some, but I've never seen one used as a licensed venue. It is huge, and it is on the 2nd floor, which no one has mentioned. Our policy says we're going to look very carefully at anything that is lower than neighboring residential buildings. This thing's lower than everything around, and the sound is just going to go up. It also only has one staircase at the moment. So in terms of things that I feel haven't been thought out, I don't understand how 25 people can safely go up and down to this rooftop with the single staircase.
No, there's a second staircase. There is one.
Well, 2 staircases. But in any event, before we urge them to spend a lot of money on sound studies and security plans and everything, all of which I believe are necessary, I just cannot see this as a non-starter in my mind, because its sheer size in a neighborhood we know has been troubled by mega clubs and has only grown more residential since then.
And I would like to add that on your last sentence there, Frank, has grown more residential over the last few years. And Jesse alluded to our community board's plan for affordable housing, which was just finalized and released a couple of weeks ago at a big press conference, looking to support the construction of more housing. And some of the areas along 11th Avenue from the 50s down to the 20s is some of the area being considered for more housing. So that trend of increasing housing, hopefully we're supporting it continuing into the future. Okay. Nobody more from the community? Anybody less? No, I see no hands raised. Carrie.
I just have a quick question for Frank, really. If they were to only be inside with the sound study and the security report and whatever other stipulations we think are necessary. Would you consider this? Because I just want to make sure we're differentiating between, like, we have two, we have a capacity issue, even on the ground floor, it's huge. And then another 2,500 people on an open roof, which I think for me, it's a non-starter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my understanding, because we spoke at length with the applicant who very considerately spent a lot of time with me and with Elka and her block association when we visited. I believe they think it's a non-starter without the roof. If the roof weren't, and they can confirm that when they get a chance to speak, if the roof weren't in there, I guess I'd want to get a better sense of the indoor capacity, because they've both said it's 2,000 people. And also it is currently divided into, there's sort of a big space, but there are also a lot of places that are offices and things. So depending how they actually use it, the capacity might really end up being a lot less than 2,000 and, might feel differently. But if it were truly a 2,000 capacity indoor space, I think I'd still have to think about that, because it's not just the indoor space, it's how people are going to get there and leave. And if they're getting there only by car, as we've heard, that's probably 1,000 cars, which is a lot. And if they're going to walk through the residential blocks to the subway. So it's potentially adding a lot of car or street traffic to the neighborhood. But as I said, I was sort of most guided by the fact that I believe they will say if this doesn't work without the rooftop.
Is it time do we hear a resolution?
Well, do you want to hear from the app?
Yeah, I want to hear their answer of if that'll make it easier for the rest of us if for the applicant, if it's a non-starter for use of the roof.
No, we need the roof. It's very important. It's part of this project. We need the roof. We can't compromise on that.
Okay, thank you.
We're willing to adjust any which way with the sound studies, with whatever you recommend, but the roof, we're paying for the roof. We need the roof.
The roof is integral to your proposal. Okay, that's what I imagined.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Christine.
I'd like to make a motion to deny.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, there's a motion in front of us. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those opposed? Those present not eligible? Those abstaining? Okay, and remember, this goes to the full board. The first Wednesday in February.
Yeah. Was that a unanimous vote, Bird or Nelly?
I didn't see anybody had a hand raised other than opposed. I mean, in favor of.
Yeah, okay. And for the applicant and their representatives, the way the full board works is that anyone can speak on any matter for 2 minutes during the public session. It's not like this meeting, it's not interactive. Everyone speaks on everything at the start of the meeting, and then when the board convenes into its business session, only the board members can speak. So you are all welcome to speak for 2 minutes on your application to the full board. And as Bert explained at the beginning, this committee only makes a recommendation to the full board, and the next full board meeting on February 1, the full board will take its own vote on what to recommend to the SLA.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, item number 6, 338 West 46th Street.
Hello, everyone. This is Phil Dorn, attorney with Pazetsky and Bookman. I just want to make sure the applicants are here. I think they were under Linda's Zoom account. If you guys are here,
yes, we are.
Under Jasmine. I see you guys. Great. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Like I said, I'm Phil Dorn, attorney for the applicant. With me are Linda Salomon and Jasmine Gerald, the owners of Samira LLC at 338 West 46th Street. The two of them who already own Jasmine's Caribbean on the same block across the street are looking to expand on their hospitality experience by opening what will be an upscale French/Caribbean fusion cocktail lounge right in the middle of Restaurant Row. The two of them met last night with David Stewart of the Hell's Kitchen 45th, 46th Block Association, as well as some of the residents who live in the building. While I won't speak for the Block Association, especially if David is here tonight to speak, he did indicate to us that he would be sending in a letter of support to the committee so long as we agreed to certain stipulations. There were a handful of those stipulations, so I'm not going to read all of them, but if the committee has those, we do agree to everything the Block Association has asked of us. That includes reducing the hours to 1 a.m. 7 nights a week, and only having the backyard open until 10 p.m. on weekdays and 11 p.m. on weekends as per the committee's rear yard policy. There are some other stipulations regarding music inside, not allowing smokers to loiter outside, all of which we are happy to agree to. So if anyone has any questions, we're of course here to answer them.
Phil, as you probably know, that there's been a fair bit of correspondence with community members, both people in this building and people on 45th Street who bought the rear yard.
Right.
I know they've submitted things, but I know many of them are in the attendees list. So I guess I'd suggest we hear, if anyone's here to speak in person about this, whether it's David or anybody else, we do that next, and then we circle back to the committee.
Yeah, and we do have the list of revisions and method of operation submitted by the Block Association.
Nellie, are there people who've raised their hands?
Yes, we have a few people. First up is Eric and Grace.
All right, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. I live right upstairs from that backyard for this venue. And they had some music going a few nights ago, last week, a few weeks ago. And it was incredibly loud to the point I had to call 311 with a noise complaint, and I have the noise complaint number. But even if there are people out there mid-afternoon just talking, it echoes right up into my apartment, just people talking at normal volume. But when they have people inside with the music going, it's like impossible to sleep. And I have to get up in the morning, 7 in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning. And, if they're out there partying at 10, 11, midnight, 1 in the morning, it's way too late. It's completely unacceptable to have noise coming out of there. The doors are not soundproof that they have. It's just junky French doors from Home Depot or something. They have an incredibly loud bunch of fans and noisy restaurant equipment mounted on the roof, which they probably can't hear from the inside. But the equipment is like 20 years old and is just making fan noise constantly. It's just a constant buzzing out there. Anyway, I would be very disappointed if they're allowed to stay open, past my bedtime, which is 10 or 11 o'clock. And certainly, if anybody's out there in the backyard, I hear every little peep. And I definitely don't want to be hearing any music after my bedtime, and I don't want to hear any sound coming out of there. It's very disappointing to hear that this is going to be going on. It's been, at least a little quieter with COVID. But before that, there was a restaurant there. I think it was a French restaurant there. And, they were done. Everything was inside by a nice quiet hour, and the whole thing was closed up, by midnight. or by 11 or something, you know, but that was like 3-4 years ago or more. But anyway, I would be disappointed if there's a lot of sound coming out of there. You know, it sounds like they're not going to use it as a restaurant, but they want to use it as a club. And I'm very disappointed and kind of, you know, I'm not thrilled about this. And I've been over here for 20 years, and it's, yeah, I don't want to see this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Grace? You're muted, Grace. Please unmute.
And the joke is I do recording and voiceover and acting for a living, so I should have known that. Thank you all for having this, number one, because it's really kind of nice to have us express our concerns. On the opposite side of this, I've been to Jasmine's that these owners own. It's a lovely restaurant. So I have hope that we can work with them and get together on how we can not have what happened that night of December 20th. I was also, like Eric, one of the people that had to go over, and I now understand it was a birthday party for one of the owners or something. If that is the case, and this is a one-time thing, then it gives me hope, because being someone in sound, I can tell you what I heard that night is the equivalent of what you're talking about with that place with 2,500 people on the roof. It was extraordinarily loud, bass and drum, to the point where, and I went there and told whoever was the manager, and I felt very much like I was being shushed. He said, I have a permit until 2 a.m. This is the way it's going to be. Okay, but it doesn't really make your neighbors feel like we can talk to you. I don't want to keep battering the point. If that was a one-off, that's fine. My concern right now moving forward is I didn't know it was a cocktail lounge from the call that was today, or what happened yesterday, I think, or last night. I thought it was a restaurant. The cocktail lounge environment makes me hope it's more in the vein of a speakeasy, which would mean very quiet music, perhaps on the inside, nothing being played outside. If that could be addressed, I'd be interested. I also want to say to the owners, I would invite you to come to my apartment, maybe with something that says a decibel range, or just hear what it's like, because both Eric and I, he faces it, I face it. My neighbor, Eric Hubbard, who was sick and could not make tonight, is in 617. His window is right on it. So basically what you all have to understand is you're in our living room. And if you're friendly and this is sweet, oh my God, I welcome it, and that's fantastic. But if this is a lot of noise, like what Eric also mentioned with this many people being outside, perhaps starting too early in the morning and then going to 1 a.m., I also thought, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it was going to stop at 10 Sunday to Thursday and 11 on the weekends. Again, things that I would ask you please to address. And just the brunch element also. We have, last comment I'm going to make, Tito Murphy's on the left, XOXO bar on the right, where we're sandwiched in the middle, hearing everything. Tito Murphy's, our Medeo, the manager, is fantastic. He has given me his cell phone number. Every time I request him, please turn down the noise or be aware, it happens. Same thing with Roy Arias, who is the owner of XOXO. So it can happen that we work together with this, and I'm willing, I have no problem with it, as long as you will please be aware that you're in my living room.
I'm happy to address some of those points. I don't know if you want everyone to finish their comments before I go ahead.
Yeah,
We have more people from the community we'd like to hear them. And then you can go on. Nellie?
Next, we have Christian, and then we have Robin.
Thank you for having me. So I wrote something down explaining what we kind of gone through. So on Tuesday, December 20th, around 9:30 p.m., we started to hear very loud bass music. I have windows from Soundproof, if anybody knows the company Soundproof, and they have the laminated windows. Well, I have those windows, and I still heard that music. I went to the roof. I saw that somebody established like a tent, a large tent, which occupied almost the whole backyard. And I determined the music was coming from that address. So I called a 311 ticket around 10 p.m. My problem is I got the address wrong. So the 311 ticket, I wrote for 340 West 46th, and it was actually supposed to be 338. Eventually, the music went off, and I was okay. Then the next day, we had the same problem around 9 p.m. Except this time, I decided to leave my building, run all the way over there, and find out what was going on. I was met with a doorman who went inside and got someone, and that person came out. That person did not tell me who they were. I introduced myself. I said, my name is Chris. I live behind you. And he told me basically this much, that he had a permit till 2 a.m. and I should check with the local precinct. He told me he was the owner of Jasmine's and that he was on the Times Square Alliance board. And he pretty much, try to drop all of that on me and to say that's what he has. And I'm like, well, I don't think that you can get, a permit from the police department for an inside party. And, I said, I kind of know about Community Board 4, and I don't think they would have approved that either. I asked him to at least just turn down the bass music. And he said he would, because somebody had come just before and that he had turned it down before. But yes, he would turn it down again. When I reached my apartment, I determined that the music was at the same level. And so I opened up a 311 ticket. The 311 ticket was opened up at 9:29 p.m. I waited a while, that ticket was closed. So then I opened up another ticket at 11:56 p.m. To tell the police, hey, no, you didn't do anything on the first ticket. I have a couple of concerns. Number one, we're replacing a restaurant with a lounge. We already have a lounge right next to this, so we're going to have a lounge next to a lounge. Given the loud party and what I consider dismissive treatment to me, even before the established opens, I think this is, an example of what we'll be seeing in the future. I don't think this is a one-off. I don't think this is a mistake. I think this is what I'm going to be expecting. I expect to have this problem in the future. I expect to be told how important this person is or whoever runs the establishment and pretty much get dismissed. So I apologize if I seem a little tart, and I apologize if I'm seeming a little animated, but we went to the person to say, hey, your music is a little loud, and I got blown off and pretty much told how important they were, and that me living here means nothing. So that's my statement, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Chris. Robin?
Hi, my name is Robin, and I live just above the new establishment coming in at 338 West 46th Street. I have lived in this apartment for 30 years. I am a longtime resident of New York City and Hell's Kitchen. And so I did attend the meeting that we had yesterday with David. Thank you, everybody, for organizing that so that we could go over a couple of things. I do have a couple of questions that if you could answer and for us as the meeting goes along. I know that Jasmine said that there would be, this is a reservation only club. So I just want to, for you to go over that. Do you have to have reservation to come into the club? I do want to make sure this is a tapas bar. So this is not a full menu. So the times that the kitchen would close. I noticed in your application that you said that you wanted to do open restaurant roadway for 4 tables and 16 seats. And I'm wondering where that goes. Is that in the front of the restaurant? Also, you said that you would provide a sound report. Can you let us know when you would provide a sound report? And as to the sound noise, the other neighbor is absolutely correct. I have a French door in my living room, which goes out to the balcony of this restaurant. So I overlook this balcony. And there is a huge fan that I hear going on and off when the restaurant is being occupied. I do want to say that they are right. The previous owners of the restaurant, Sangria 46, Judith and Ariel, were great owners. and they worked with us nonstop. In the 7-10 years that they owned the restaurant, I actually had not one complaint about them. They closed that patio down at 10 o'clock every night. The doors were closed and the restaurant was quiet, and the restaurant itself closed around 11 o'clock each night. So that is a concern with it going a little bit later. Also, they are absolutely right about Roy next door, XOXO. He came into the community as a nightclub and it's a comedy club now, but he gave us cell phone numbers and he absolutely responded every time someone called, whatever time, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. There were a lot of incidents on the street with security, and he absolutely responded. And I just want to make sure, which they said they would do, that we would have access to someone that will be in the establishment if something arises. Thank you.
Thank you. Nellie?
Next, we have Ute and David Stewart.
Hi again. This is Ute Kies. Thank you for having us here tonight. I live also at 338 West 46th Street since 2001, May. My 22nd anniversary comes up. Have been living here, love it in Hell's Kitchen. And my concern, besides what we have heard already, is it concerns me that a new owner of this building, Linda is a partner of 338. She acquired this building in August of like a year ago, has not reached out to us. We are the people living here. There hasn't been any effort to get to know us, let alone the community. That doesn't bode well. And I have an issue with that. Yes, we met yesterday and that was great. But that was because the neighbors who have spoken before on 45th Street had the concerns because they heard the noise on December 21st. I was upstate, didn't hear it, and would have been annoyed that I wouldn't have been invited, but not informed. I don't like that. I mean, here's a new tenant, a new landlord, a new owner of a building, a new establishment, and Jasmine, we have met before, and you're lovely, and your restaurant is as lovely. Why was there no outreach? Why not? You know, you said you have an open heart and you want to be good neighbors, and that's great, but why was there no outreach before? And that really, really bothers me. I mean, we have been here so long and we really want good businesses. I want to speak easy. That's awesome. But reach out. There are a lot of concerns already mentioned. I'm not going to repeat all of that. And I think we had a great meeting yesterday, and David has a great summary of that. But, you know, be good neighbors. We want to be good neighbors. We are good neighbors and we want to work together, but don't stonewall us from the get-go. And that goes also what Chris said before. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks for listening.
Okay, thanks for your 2 cents. David?
Hello again, everybody. Yeah, thanks for inviting me to just say a few words. Maybe I can just frame the conversation we had with the community a little bit for everybody who wasn't there. So, you know, in our conversation, it was initiated because there was an event, whatever it was, back on the 23rd, whatever the night was, that some folks complained about. We were told that was a one-off. We were told they had a license for it. I didn't really dig in too deep on that. I will just say that everybody here knows, and I did check with Mike Dugan at Midtown North. The police precincts don't give me permits for anything. So if there's a permit, it's probably something else. So maybe we get some clarity about that. But I think both Linda and Jasmine had said that was a one-off thing, and they apologized for that. And, you know, like, I don't think there's a person here who hasn't made a mistake. So we're willing to give the benefit of the doubt. If there was a second night, that's news to me. I didn't understand that. So maybe we can get a little clarity on that. As far as the hours of operation, I think there might have been like a little miscommunication. I did send a note around that I believe I copied Frank on. What we had talked about on the call was hours for the interior space to 1 a.m. on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. The weekdays would be earlier, and I think that what we talked about was hours similar to what Jasmine's currently have, but that was something that was a little bit TBD, because I don't think Linda and Jasmine had the exact hours that they wanted to operate, at least not on our call. So yeah, just if we could clarify about that. And then just for folks from the community listening, we did say that we wanted to follow the Community Board 4 rear yard rooftop policy, which is a 10 p.m. closing for any backyard places during the week. And I believe it's 11 p.m. during the weekend. And my understanding of that is that that's when all activity ceases, like all cleaning, all tables, everything is done, and there's no more activity from patrons or employees on the backyard. The other thing I just want to address was music and sound, specifically soundproofing, and the type of venue. So I think the description we got was that this was going to be like a very a nice place, kind of upscale, that one that had a nice environment, and the music would be things like a violin or a saxophone or something, like to provide ambient music inside. There would be no music outside, either the front or back. We also talked about soundproofing and specifically mentioned that we would like to have residents from both 45th Street and the Whitby and residents above in the building volunteered to have their apartments available for sound checks. And we would like to have, I think we were pretty clear in stating that we wanted to have a sound check done, like with normal sound, whatever is going to be happening, both in the back patio for the folks who are back on 45th Street and the Whitby, who overlook the back patio, plus the folks above, just so that we could see, well, how does bass travel up the pipes? How is the noise for the residents behind, et cetera? So I think those were the things that we agreed to, we talked about. Certainly, if I have that wrong, Jasmine and Linda, please, please correct me. But those are the things that I did specifically include in the note that I sent around to everybody on that call last night and copied Frank on. And I think one other thing too, I think Eric had mentioned, both the owners did agree to provide their cell phone numbers and email addresses, so that if we do have any issues, we can call them. And yes, the other things about the smoke were addressed. So I think that covers my understanding and a few items of clarity that I'd love to get from folks. Thank you.
Nellie?
I'm sorry. Next we have Ali and Bob and then Eddie.
Thanks very much. I don't need to take much time because everything's been said. The only thing I'd like to simply add is, I don't know how the afternoons got so loud from us from Tito Murphy's, but for whatever reason, to have afternoon noise and then to have late night noise would really be bad. So thanks for considering this as a sort of a shortened time period, and certainly no noise or music or smoke on the outside. I think that's the biggest issue. I would love it if it was 10 o'clock every night, but I may not get my way. Thanks.
Bob?
Yeah, hi. I'm a resident of 338 West 46th Street for 28 years. And since I've been here, we've had 2 restaurants downstairs, and they were restaurants, and they didn't stay late. There was no crowds congregating outside the building or whatever, because they were restaurants. I had all these, I wasn't in the loop for a lot of the conversations, but David just about said everything I needed to know, that there will be sound mitigation. They would be testing deficits in my apartment and all the other apartments. My concern is about the people on the first floor. That's Robin and a new tenant who's coming in, because they're right above the restaurant, or the club rather. So with soundproofing, with proper soundproofing and everything else, and the reduced hours in the backyard, you know, I want to have a good relationship. I think we all want to have a good relationship with the new landlord. I will say this, considering the landlord that we did have, let's not even forget about him. I've had problems in my building and they addressed them immediately. Okay. And they brought in professional plumbers to fix things and not some handyman. So I'm glad that they have been responsive to me personally as far as things in my apartment, and they made promises of doing even more so in the building. So I just hope we can work together and hope that that new restaurant, lounge, will be what, not be an issue for us. We all live in New York. We've had many issues in it over the years, and I know it's a busy block. I understand that. There's a lot going on this block. I face the front of the building, and there's always noise out in the front door. But I have systems built into my bedroom that that negates that noise. So I get, I'm retired. I'm older, so I like to go to bed a reasonable hour and get up a reasonable hour. So what goes on outside late at night really doesn't disturb me because of the soundproofing that I did, and you'll probably be more of that anyway. So anyway, I that's my say in the matter, and I'm glad I was part of this meeting.
Okay, thanks. Eddie?
Yeah, hi, I'm Eddie Isley, and I also live in the building. I'm right above Robin, actually. And I've been in the building living there for 31, 32 years. So I can give you a whole history of the noise situation as far as what it was as far as our apartment building. There's only been a couple of 3 restaurants in that location, and there were never any noise issues, never. They closed around 10, 11. And they didn't have any music, and especially didn't have any music in the backyard. And I sort of enjoyed the fact that there was a backyard with people celebrating there, but they closed at a very reasonable time, never created a problem with noise. The neighborhood at that point was kind of like if somebody 3, 4 buildings down was making a lot of noise after 10, 11:30 at night. We would just call the police and tell the police what happened. The police would come over and knock on whoever's door, and they would stop the noise. I always thought there was a community standard of no noise, no music after 10 o'clock weekdays, 11 o'clock on the weekend. So I was shocked when I got this notice that they're changing it to 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. I understand that's been negotiated down, and I'm very happy with that. Now, I met the owner once, and he seemed a very, very cordial person. He wanted to create a good relationship with us in the building, and I was very impressed with him. And he made some promises, and they were good promises for us. And if they're met, then I think we would all have a wonderful relationship. And I do know that the previous restaurant owners were very careful about the noise that they would create, and we could call them at any given time and they would respond. And I would hope that we would have the same relationship with this new entity on the ground floor. I don't know what the difference is between a lounge or a restaurant. I would imagine that a lounge would have to have further soundproofing than a restaurant. Most of the restaurants, like nightclub type restaurants on the block, Don't Tell Mama, across the street, and some of the other ones like that, had to do very serious soundproofing in order for them to operate. So I'm not sure what requirements that a lounge would have to provide. And that's all I have to say. I'm very happy that that the the times have already been adjusted down, and so I'm not alarmed as I was a couple of days ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Phil. Unmute, please, Phil.
Sorry about that. Thank you, everyone, for those comments. A lot was just said. I'm going to do my absolute best to try to address as many of the questions and concerns as I can. If there is something left out or something that pops up in when I'm speaking, I'd be happy to please remind me. I'd be happy to go over. The first thing I want to speak about is the event at the end of December that a few people mentioned. This was a birthday party for one of the owners, and it was absolutely a one-off event. Jasmine and Linda have expressed their sincerest apologies to some of the people who approached them about it. I think it was spoken about at last night's meeting, but I could be incorrect. And they will be happy to apologize again to everyone this evening. But I do want to really get the point forward that this was a one-off event. They've built a reputation with Jasmine's across the street, and we would hope that that reputation from a few years of being in business would outweigh one event. They did get a legal, what's called a one-day catering permit. That's not through the precinct, it's through the state liquor authority. So everything was done legally and by the book. That's not to say it was done appropriately, and it was not, and they acknowledged that. They put up a tent without, of course, asking any of the neighbors for their input or anything along those lines. They had music outside, and that was inappropriate. They will not have music outside ever. They will abide by the committee's rear yard policies, and that's closing at, I believe, 10 p.m. during the week and 11 p.m. on the weekends. And Frank or Bert, you can correct me if those hours are incorrect, but whatever the policy is, they are happy to abide by that. And that includes no music outside whatsoever. So that, I guess, transitions me into the next point about just noise in general, and about the distinction of this being a restaurant versus a club. As a liquor attorney, the term restaurant is a legal term of art. So I was hesitant to use that term in the beginning, mainly because the state liquor authority has a definition of a restaurant to have in order to meet the definition of a restaurant, you have to have a full menu that meets a certain threshold of items. So you could, for example, you can have a sushi restaurant that, because it's just a few pieces of sushi, even though it is most definitely a restaurant, isn't under the law deemed a restaurant. This place has a more pared back menu, and as such, under the law, it cannot be deemed a restaurant. But this is not a club. This is a very food forward restaurant. It's a fusion of French and Caribbean, like I mentioned earlier, that is a spin-off of Jasmine's across the street, which is Caribbean cuisine. This is, like I said, it is not a club. There is no DJ. There's nothing like that. The music will be at conversational levels only. It will come from the front of the restaurant. If there is live music, which is not every night, like I believe Frank or Bert said, it is a violinist or perhaps a smooth jazz saxophone player. This is not party music. This is upscale. There may well be a dress code. It is not a club. So I just wanted to get that across to everybody. It really just is a smaller menu, and hence why we can't legally call it a restaurant. We do appreciate the words from those people who commended Jasmine's across the street. Grace, I know you're one of them. David, you as well. And if I'm missing anyone else, thank you. We do appreciate that. And like I said a few minutes ago, we hope that their reputation from years of experience at Jasmine's would give us the benefit of the doubt this evening. As to Robin's question about reservations only, I will let Jasmine or Linda address that question. I'm not sure of the answer to that, but we can get to that at the end. As to Robin's question about the kitchen and how late it will be open, the kitchen will be open during all hours of operation. It's as simple as that. As for the sound report, we are currently working with Al Firestein of Acoustalog. Many of you are familiar with him and his firm. One of the agreements with David and the Block Association that was made last night was that the applicants would conduct a sound study with some of the going into the units of the tenants upstairs. And we're, like we said, we're happy to agree to that. We agreed to everything that was agreed to last night. As far as the hours go, like a couple of you just mentioned at the end there, we appreciate that you acknowledge that we have already come down from our original ask of 2 a.m. on the weekdays and 3 a.m. on the weekends. We really are trying to find a middle ground here and meet in the middle. Our understanding was that 1 a.m. across the board would be an acceptable middle ground. We ask that if we would not like to go any earlier than that, just because we have already come a long way, and we are trying to show a willingness to compromise here. And then lastly, I'll add, before I turn it over to Jasmine or to Linda to answer the question about the reservations only, as well as to offer an apology about the event that occurred, I just want to add that Jasmine and Linda, as I mentioned, are members of this community. They're members of this block. And as such, they have interest in being good neighbors and operating this establishment appropriately. This is not just a one-off location for them. Or, they're residents of this community. They live here, they work here, and they want this place. They want to be good neighbors.
Thank you.
So with that, I'll turn it over to Jasmine. Jasmine, you are muted, and I just want you to touch on Robin's question about the reservations.
And then after Jasmine, I'm sorry, we have Carrie and then Christine.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having us on this meeting and this call. Like Phil said, it was a one-night event in which we apologize and that we're sorry about. We definitely is willing to work with the community and to have some form of compromise in how we can work together. As far as music outside, we will not have music outside. We will not have smoking outside. It will be by reservation, but if there's some people who want to do walk-ins, we might have that, but it might be more based on reservation only. It's going to be more dress code where you have to wear jackets to come in to get dressed up. We're not having loud music whatsoever. We'll have somebody outside making sure that they deal with the traffic of people. We won't have people lingering outside at all. We won't have people smoking outside. So.
All right, thank you, Jasmine. I just wanted you to answer the question about the reservations and the.
Okay.
Bert, before we get to the other committee members, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things because they may focus the discussion. A couple of the community members kept calling it the owner and saying he. My understanding was that Jasmine and Linda were the owners. Do we know who this person was who was speaking to everyone back in December?
Well, no, I just want to clarify. The owners of the building are myself, and I have a partner. Jasmine and I are tenants here in Samir, but I also have a partner that owns the building with me.
He's a building owner, not a restaurant owner.
Okay, but do we know who was speaking to the community members who went by on December 20 or whenever that was?
No.
No, okay. So as I understand the hours you're looking for, you'd like to be open till 1 a.m. inside every night, correct?
That's correct.
And outside, you close at 10 and 11. But as you heard from David Stewart, what they would like that to mean is that there's just no one out there, no customers, all the cleanup's done, everything like that. I don't know if that's acceptable, but we need to clarify that because the prior place closed an hour earlier at 9 and 10 outdoors.
I mean, we would ask that the hours of operation outside are under the same rules and you know, as indoors as well. 1 a.m. for indoors means you're closed at 1 a.m. 11 p.m. outdoors means you're closed at 11 p.m. There won't be any customers outside if there's
right. I'm just pointing out that the block association asked for something different, which was that nobody be outside after whatever we pick as the closing time, 10 and 11. I take
Does that include like an employee folding up a chair or something like that?
That is what they were getting at. They don't want people out there for 2 more hours making noise, you know, cleaning tables and moving furniture around and stuff. We don't need to talk about this. Let's hear from everybody else. I just want to get some stuff on the table. So you've agreed to do an acoustic report and visit, including the people's apartments upstairs and at the 45th Street building. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't aware about the 45th Street building. We obviously don't have access to that because we don't own the
Several
building.
people, David Stewart said, and several people from that building have confirmed that they would let acoustic.
Okay, great. Yep, we can do it.
Okay. And I'm trying to understand what happened in terms of outdoor noise on the December date. Was there music outside or not?
Yes, there was music outside and a tent was constructed.
So there was
No, I want to be clear about that. There were music inside. We did not have any speakers outside. The door was open so you can hear the music going outside. We did not have a speaker of any sort or music outside in the tent. The music was just inside, yes.
Yeah. Thanks. That's what I thought you told me when you gave me the tour.
Yes.
So the issue then will be whatever happened that night, we know bothers people. So one issue that the acoustician's gonna have to look at is you have pretty flimsy glass doors leading to the backyard. And, you know, it appears that at this event, even though the music was on the inside, everyone was hearing it in neighboring buildings. So there's going to have to be a way of, you know, isolating the indoor music from drifting out through those doors as people keep going in and out to the backyard, you know, to keep the music leakage from bothering everyone, because, you know, we now know that indoor music can in fact bother people as far away as on 45th Street.
Well, the night that we had the music, we're not going to have those type of speakers or anything. It's going to be like basic Bose speakers in the inside. So that would totally be different. And also too, we are going to have installation in the inside that is going to muffle the music as well. So these are the things that we are already looking into already. And we already had Acoustic Lodge already came in and they put an instrument outside to test the volume. So we already start the process as far as making sure we can control the noise and make sure that we won't have the same problem that we had before.
Okay. And I would think Acoustic Lodge should definitely look at the rear doors you have and see if they can, you know, if something more soundproof can be done between.
We spoke to him. We spoke to Alan today, and we spoke about that. We also spoke about putting something outside that can muffle the stuff, the music as well. So these are the things that we are looking into right now.
That'd be great. And you do want to have live music inside as well?
We're not having any not live music in the sense of having 4 or 5 people. It's going to be very mellow, very low. It's not a situation live music where you're going to have a band.
I will answer that question. Okay. Yes.
Can we limit it to a certain number of performers and have it end earlier than 1 a.m.?
Yes, we spoke about that, and we're happy to limit it to a max of 2 performers, if that works for the committee, and with no amplifiers. And we're happy to limit it to concluding by 11 p.m.
Okay, great. I think all that will be helpful. Okay.
Now that wouldn't include the background, the recorded music.
Right, that's only about live music.
We're talking about live music.
Yeah. Okay, Bert, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to.
No, Frank,
we're on the same page.
we got more clarification, which is what we needed. Okay, Christine and Inga.
Yeah, Frank did a terrific job. The only piece I think we have not talked about is the equipment on the roof, which is very noisy. And either it's a fan or it's an air conditioner or one of those things. And we have had a similar problem in other buildings where the fan or that equipment is driving everybody nuts.
I can't speak to the equipment that's on the roof. Perhaps Jasmine can. I do know that I believe this was the equipment from the previous restaurant, and probably the restaurant before that too. I know a lot of you spoke about being there for 20 or 30 years and only having a couple restaurants. So for all I know, this has been there for 3 decades.
So what I'm saying is that either, yes.
So we will have it looked at and make sure that it's functioning properly, where it's not going to be any noise ordinance.
The point I was just going to make was that these undertakings can often be extremely expensive to replace entire HVAC systems. While we can't commit to fully replacing the entire system, we can certainly commit to having it inspected and perhaps cleaned, and then moving from there.
Right, that's fine. That's helpful. Thank you. And then, yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. Inga?
Sorry, I was just going to say, you said 2 musicians. Is that, I mean, you can never have a jazz trio. You can't have, do you want 3?
No, we're not gonna have 3 musicians. Basically,
Perfect.
when someone comes in, we're not gonna have 3 musicians.
Okay, so you really want very low key music, which is what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we really want to highlight that this is not a place for live bands to come in and cause a scene. It's just
Thank you.
Set the tone, set the
That
mood.
helps a lot. That makes a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Inga.
Do we have anybody else from the committee? And
oh, I have one more. I'm sorry, I missed something.
I thought maybe you wanted to introduce a resolution, Kristen.
No, I just see in the application that there is a storm enclosure. Are you going to commit to do it legally, which is 18-inch?
Yes, we'll commit to being fully compliant.
Right. Okay.
Now,
motion to approve.
Okay.
Sorry,
Wait, before we go there, Inga,
Yeah.
we just can't say motion to approve. I think Frank
With
has
the
to
added stipulations that
Yeah.
Frank will recite.
Frank, can you, thank you.
summarize them.
Okay, well, let's just make sure we're on the same page with the hours. So what the applicant would like, which is a little different from, what we've heard from some community members, is to be open inside every day until 1 a.m., to have the rear yard closed and vacated of patrons at 10 p.m. on weeknights and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Are people basically okay with that, or?
I think that's fair.
I think there was patron and staff, right?
No, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Patron and staff.
David
Correct.
Stewart and others asked for patrons and staff, but Phil asked, to only be patrons. So that's what I was asking for clarification about.
No, I think it was okay. Phil?
Phil, you're okay with it?
I would prefer not. I mean, I've never quite heard of that stipulation before. Sometimes it takes, we try to be as expeditious as possible. Sometimes it takes a little time to just clean up. But that's
we just stipulated a previous application for 9 and 10. So
yeah.
I'm actually feeling a little bit uncomfortable about extending it to 10 and 11s.
Yeah, I would say 10 and 11, everybody is gone.
That's right.
Squirrels,
Okay, so
dogs, cats,
Agree
everyone,
with Inga.
rats.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Jasmine, can you agree to that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Frank, any?
Sorry,
further?
Frank, one more thing on that the door is to be closed to the outdoor space for
Yeah,
any
we're
sound.
happy to agree to that as well.
Great.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll improve they'll improve the sound, the barrier between indoors and outdoors in the back as well.
Well, that's for sure that would be a good place to put a vestibule there, so that when they go out and to serve, the sound doesn't escape.
It's a good idea. It's something that we'll discuss with the sound engineer.
Okay. Any other, Frank, summary you want to make?
Just checking my list.
Check your list.
We will get a sound report before full board. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, we need it by the 22nd. That could be tight if they have to visit several.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough if we have to go
Go
to
to
several
apartments. That's not.
Yeah, I guess
Doable.
at this point, because I do think, this is my personal view of this. Jasmine's, as they said, has been operating successfully for a while. I think these owners went out of their way to, meet with the community last night to try to make this meeting go smoother, and I think it did because of that. The fact that they're willing to do the acoustic report and visit these apartments, I guess, I'd be willing to give them some good faith that they're going to get the acoustic report done well and implemented.
But so what you can put in is like will comply with the report, the result of the report, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We're happy to agree to that.
All right, so everybody listen and chime in because these are a little rough. Our rear yard will be closed and vacated of all personnel, patrons and staff no later than 10 p.m. Sunday to Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. There'll be no music or amplified sound in the rear yard. Doors between indoor space and rear yard will be kept closed at all times except for entering and exiting. Any live music will be inside only, will cease no later than 11 p.m. nightly, and be limited to 2 unamplified performers maximum. Applicant will obtain an acoustic report that will include visits to consenting neighbors at 338 West 46th Street and at the Whitby Building on West 45th Street. That report will include analyzing the possibility of a vestibule between the inside space and the rear yard. Applicant agrees to implement the recommendations of the acoustic report. Applicant will provide contact information for owners or managers to the relevant block association. Any storm enclosure will extend no further than 18 inches from the building facade. Applicant will have outdoor restaurant equipment inspected and, if necessary, cleaned in order to reasonably reduce outdoor noise levels.
You want to say rooftop?
The equipment?
Right.
Rooftop, okay. First, the committee, anything else or any modifications?
Oh, that's good.
In the letter that David sent us reporting about the meeting with Jasmine and Phil, he also mentioned cell phone numbers.
Yeah, I did that.
You did that.
You did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
My motion stands.
Well, wait a second.
What about Tina?
Phil, Jasmine, Linda, you okay with all that?
Yeah, I just wanna ask, perhaps David, is David willing to assist us in correspondence with the tenants who have interest in helping with the sound study, just so we know who wants to use their unit as a test site? I mean,
David's back in the public session, but I have some of those names, but I'll work with David and we will.
Okay, we'll all work together.
Yeah, we will get you. I know of one person in the Whitby and at least 2 people in your building that have agreed. So
great.
And
everything else sounded great.
One of us will get you that info.
Inga, your resolution is still out there?
Yes, it is.
You're a second?
I thought Tina had her hand up.
Yeah, I did. There was someone who was annoyed by the smoking and wanted to make sure that that was dealt with as well.
That was also an agreement we've made with the block association, that we would have
Correct.
someone outside to make sure people weren't loitering and
So
smoking.
no smoking outside.
And no smoking in the back.
You'll take reasonable steps to
Right.
ensure that smokers, do not loiter. Or that
Congregate out front.
smokers don't congregate in front.
And in the
So,
courtyard, I
do
think.
we have a
maybe.
second?
There can't be any, there's no smoking in the rear
No
yard.
smoking in the backyard.
Yeah, you can't smoke.
That's
Okay.
not allowed.
All those in favor? Okay, those opposed? Present not eligible, abstaining? Okay.
Thank you all for your willingness to work with us on this.
All right,
We
good luck. And
appreciate
I
it.
wanted to thank
you very
everybody.
much.
Yeah, I also want to thank everybody, the applicant and the community, because this was sort of a hostile mess a week ago, and the way it should work.
We've come a long
we've
way.
actually made a lot of progress. So thank you, everybody, for working together.
Yeah, thank you all. Have a great night.
Good luck.
Okay, we have one more item on the agenda. Number 8, 176 8th Avenue, Lulu's. Okay, the MVLH Hospitality Group. And we had some letters from the community about this. And we have the applicant here, the attorney.
Yes, we do. This is Martin Mailer. I'm the attorney for the applicant, and we have one of the owners that is also online. That is Rosian Bikar. I don't know. Is she on? Can you see her?
Don't see a Nelly.
I just promoted them.
Okay,
Is she on?
she's coming on.
Okay, good. Let's wait until she gets on.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I am trying to turn off the video. Oh, here you go. Hi, good evening, everybody.
All right. So to refresh everyone's memory, we were before you in November. We want to keep everything as it is, but we do want to add a jazz component down in the basement. You asked us to come back with a sound reading, and Acoustalog has given you a full report. I submit that the report indicates that we are well within whatever range is necessary to ensure that there is no noise that emanates to the outside. This is what they tend to do, is have a jazz band play 3 days a week. They only play between the hours of 5 p.m. and 10 p.m., maybe up to 11 p.m. There's no tickets sold. It's a one-seating event, and they would just like to add that component to what is going on within the establishment as it exists today.
Thank you. Questions from committee members? Comments?
Just wondering if anyone has more experience reading these Acoustalog reports. I mean, top line summary is, it seems like it's hard to read the summary and then connect it to look quickly the details in here. But I assume that this is saying from the outside, from street level, that the noise does not permeate. Is that's
true?
Or permeates to a appropriate level.
If you do look at the report, you'll see the angles that he took them from. I mean, he took them from all street angles to ensure that the sound would not permeate out of the space. It's in the basement. I mean, this is not anything that has anything to do with any outdoor element. And yes, the report is pretty clear that that the tests that were conducted indicate very clearly that there's no outside noise that will in any way impede the repose of the people in the area. And this is Alan Firestein, and I think you people know Acoustalog, and they are a very reputable operation and very professional in what they do.
Okay, Wendy and then Christine.
I have, I think, two questions. The first is just to clarify the hours. So you said 5 to 10 p.m. Does that include Friday and Saturday nights as well?
The hours haven't been firmed up. But it'll only be 3 nights a week. It won't be every night. And it's 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., hopefully 11 p.m., when it will stop. The music will stop. The downstairs will continue, but without any music.
Okay, so you're asking for 3 nights a week, no later than 11 p.m.
Correct.
Basement. Okay. And then second question is regarding, I know you mentioned there won't be ticketing, because I know that was an issue when
A long time ago, yeah. No
so how will people reserve a space? Is this walk-in only, or is it a reservation system for the downstairs?
Ozian, you want to answer that? You got it. You're muted.
I can answer that. So there will be no tickets. It's going to be no promoters. It's going to be only via our newsletter or our reservation list. And of course, the clientele, the customers that we will have in the venue, we will tell them about our experience that we will have downstairs, and they will be offered to go and join and have an idea of the experience we were trying to give them.
So just so we're clear, Wendy and the applicant, when we went through this months ago, we determined that the zoning does not allow ticketed events with designated showtimes. So you can't, not only can't you sell tickets, you can't say we're having a 9 o'clock show. This has to be, you can take reservations for the space, or, you know, the way bars or restaurants take reservations, but you can't advertise showtimes, or you can't take reservations for like a 10 p.m. jazz show.
No, that's not the intention. The intention here is the after work crowd just coming in, enjoying themselves.
Yeah, correct. I was not saying that was your intention. I was just making sure we agree that that isn't allowed here.
You're absolutely correct. We have no problem.
Okay, thanks.
That's her. That is her
Okay.
little child.
I'm sorry, I have a toddler with me and he passed his bedtime, so he's making noise next to me.
Yeah.
Well, what I suggest is, unless you have questions on the record, she mute herself. Rosie, mute yourself, and then if questions are asked of you, you go back on.
I can't.
There he goes. Okay.
Christine, you're on mute.
My question was, the sound report and measurement was done from the street, but what is above the cellar? The rest of the restaurant is on the first floor?
Yes,
right.
yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right. That's it. Clarification. I'm good.
Martin, I think one of the reasons we kept adjourning was for you to meet with block associations. Can you tell us which ones you met with?
I haven't met with any of them, but what the co-owner, Matthias, he emailed every one of them, asked them, you know, could he meet? Do they have any questions? And it's my understanding that there wasn't any feedback. But
okay.
We've gotten letters from the block association.
Okay. Nellie, do we have a list of who they reached out to?
Yes, it's the whole list for the Chelsea Block Associations that I have.
Okay, and what was your question?
I'm sorry.
Did you have a question about whether they met with anybody, or?
Well, the whole purpose of them postponing for the past couple of months was to meet with block associations, and we never got an answer for that.
Well, like I said, the email went out and there were no responses to my knowledge.
But during
what did the email say?
Wait, Nellie, please.
But during one of the meetings, I can't remember if it was last month or the month before, you guys stated that there was someone who reached out wanting to meet. And we didn't get an answer to that question.
I'm sorry, I'm unaware of anyone, and Matthias couldn't be here today.
I can also say I am also not aware of anybody trying to reach out, or we reached out and nobody responded.
Well, can I ask? Can you? I don't know what those letters say, so can you tell us what it is, what the concern, if any, is?
Well, we have 4 people from the public who have already raised their hand. Why don't we hear from them?
Hear
And
from
Yeah, why
first.
don't we
as
do
I'll
that?
summarize the letters if these people don't cover their points.
Right.
Because we have received letters of objection from 2 block associations, the West 200 block 19 to 22nd Street Block Association and the 300 West 18th and 19th Street Block Association.
Okay. Nellie, can you bring those community members in, please?
Yes. First, we have Twee. And then we have Jasenko.
Hello. Thank you for taking my question first. I have several. I believe Wendy asked about the 3 nights a week, but I didn't hear which days. Am I assuming Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
No, it hasn't been established, but if you want us to break it up, we'll do it Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It won't be consecutive nights.
Okay. And then there are several issues with the application. I think it seems to be just submitted from September, because that's what the signature says, of 2022. On page 2 of 9, it says the basement holds 52 people, 11 tables, 50 seats. But then on page 12 of 18, which says page 2 of 2, it says cellar is 89 with storage and utilities.
Now, the capacity is 89. The number that you stated is what is down there.
Because the floor plan says the cellar is 49. So, and that's on page 13 of 18. So is it 52 or 49? I mean, it's like that.
Downstairs, I believe, is 49. Ozian, can you clarify that?
Yes, I believe it's the minimal number. We're also not expecting to have so many people downstairs. Altogether, I know that it's 162 seats, and we are planning to have the 49, the 50, I believe it's 52 or so downstairs. But we will not have that for the jazz band.
Can you make?
It'll be less. Wait, the 49 is the number. 4950 is the number. We won't. If you want to stipulate to that, we'll stipulate to that.
Well, I mean, you say, because page 2 of 9 says 52 people, 50 seats. Floor plans on page 13 of 18 says the cellar is 49. No, just as long as it's consistent.
No, let's make it 49. Okay, I'm sorry if there's any inconsistency in the questionnaire, but it'll be 49.
And then the photo was the same photo for the past 3 applications before this one, where it just shows it's like black with a black door. I know for a fact there's like those fake beautiful, I don't know if they're beautiful, fake colorful flowers that are dangling from there. And then where there's a black door, it's actually like a red door. And I think when we discussed it prior, that's where people enter for the basement, is that red door. Is that right?
Again,
the people are going to enter from the main entrance. We will have a host who will navigate them from the restaurant into the downstairs, into the basement. So there will be no gathering outside. It's not going to be established for the afterward. For the jazz band.
Okay, but the photo, I mean, that's an old photo. That's not even from last year. It doesn't look like that at all. Are you going to provide an updated photo?
you want an updated photo? We'll give you an updated photo. I didn't think the photo was going to be an issue, but if you want an updated photo, you'll get an updated photo.
And the last question I have has to do with the, let's see if I can find it, the page 11 of 18, the certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
It's not clear why it's a temporary certificate of occupancy and it expired almost 2 years ago, March 2021.
If you want, we'll give you the final one. I'm sorry, no, there is a final one and we'll give you that as well. It's the same as that temporary.
Yeah, nothing's posted online.
What do you mean nothing's posted online?
This is the last one that's posted online on the BIS.
We can supply the permit, or if you want that to be a condition, we'll do that as well.
I mean, I defer to the committee. It's just something I noticed.
There is a valid C of O on the premise.
And it's not temporary, right?
You know, that's good. I don't know that it's a continuation of the temporaries, but I know there is a current C of O on the premises. If I had them, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well. I'm in my son's basement, so I don't have access to my normal means of getting into other sites. But I assure you that there is a proper CO on the premises.
Okay, and there's no minimum spend with the jazz, right?
I'm sorry, what?
There's no minimum spend requested. Like you can go down there for drinks and listen to jazz if you wanted.
Oh yeah, no, right, no, more minimum spend. No, it's just an addition.
Okay, sorry, I thought I had last. I'm looking at my past notes from the past 3 times. The question had to do with the band. There was a question if there was a drum kit, if there's a piano, if it's 3 people, 5 people. It's not clear how they'll fit from the floor plan in the cellar.
It's a maximum of 3. I don't know the 3 pieces that will be down there. Maybe Ozine would know. I would assume. I don't want to make assumptions, but it's a maximum of 3 pieces.
Yeah, so we are anticipating to have a jazz band or a saxophone player. As it depends on the artist who will come in, we can definitely determine what kind of instruments they will be playing. But most of the time it will be 1 singer and with a background. So, and we're really thinking it's going to be only between 1, 3, maybe 4 max people, and we will limit it to 1 show per event. There will not be 2 shows. Some other places do that, but we will not be doing that. So only going to be 1 show per event, per date.
Okay, thank you. Feel better.
Thank you.
Jasenko?
Hi, so I was already a panelist maybe a couple of years ago when they first applied to expand the license. So I will just repeat what I said back then. I have a history with live music coming from Lulu. It's mostly an outdoor restaurant. It has upward of 50 seats outside. It completely opens to the outside because it's wrapped out in French doors. So they used to have for about a year and a half throughout 2020-21, there was live music outside, actually, sometimes even on the road in between the 2 shacks that they have. And it would be sometimes 4 band members, brass instruments, singer, drums, I don't know, bass, and so on. So this was going on for a year and a half. I reached out to Matthias. I actually asked Mend to mediate between us. We were in conversations. Mend drafted a document. All I asked is for the music not to be amplified and to be reduced the number of concerts that they had. And actually, Matthias did not want to sign any kind of arrangement. Then we came in front of you, and it turns out that all along he was not even allowed to play live music. He had stipulations that said no live music. Also, he had outdoor speakers, and when pressed by you if he had outdoor speakers, he said no. Repeatedly, the next day he removed them. They were there at 9 a.m. They were gone by 5 p.m. So that was actually him lying to this committee. He also, I don't know, there were several times he actually misstated what he was doing. Now, okay, now the music won't be outside, it will be in the basement, but this is still a restaurant that opens up. The acoustics report, I guess, works only if this room is really completely separate from the restaurant. But what is the business model? How I guess there must be a bar downstairs that has to be completely separate from the rest of the restaurant. I still don't understand how this is, what actually even the lawyer just said, they just want to add this to component to what's going on right now. What's going on right now is that this is a restaurant with a huge outdoor component, and they want to add this to, I guess, that. So my concerns are the doors going to open? Are the French doors are going to open? Is the staff going to go in and out of this lounge? And the music will travel. So, so basically there's a history to this. There's also a history to him breaking the stipulations that he made, admitting to that because he felt that he was entitled to do that. And then there were actually lies about outdoor speakers, about playing music indoors when the French doors are open. So these are my concerns.
May I address that?
Yeah, wait,
I'm sorry.
One question, please. Jasenko, the he you were referring to, what's his relationship to the current applicant?
So this is Matthias von der Leyen.
He's the one who's appeared before us the past few meetings.
That's true. He couldn't be here today.
So he is the applicant.
No. Ozian is a co-owner.
Well, he is one of the applicants.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know the relationship between the people we see before us now and the person Jasenko was describing in terms of his history. Okay, thank you. Got the clarification I needed.
Do you want me to speak, or do you want to?
We'd like to hear from.
All right, no, that's fine.
Yes, I would like to. I think we have Pamela and then Jeffrey.
Hi. Well, good evening again. This time I speak on behalf of the Chelsea West 200 Block Association. This seems to be a pretty contentious presenter here, and there's a lot of history that I haven't really followed, nor has this block association followed. I was reached out to recently by Jasenko and another resident of that block. And given the backstory, I must say that I think it's pretty shocking, the kind of abuse of privilege, can I put it that way, to take a small step and take a giant leap from where it should have been. I'm concerned because this site is very intensely residential. There's a large apartment building by our standards. It's a 5-story old law tenement building immediately across the street on 19th Street, and then going east on 19th Street on the south side, there are immediately after this structure, there are residential buildings. I'm concerned. I love jazz. I'm a bebop fan myself and would love a venue where I could go and listen to music. I'm concerned that it will find its way out of the basement and onto the street and into people's living rooms, and that's just not acceptable. The letter that you have from our block association, I think basically explains what Jasenko has already presented this evening. I would hope that this business can continue and do well. All the small businesses in this neighborhood are struggling, I know that. And I'm sure this would add some income stream for him. But I would hate to see it happen at the cost of suffering by the residential population. Thank you.
Jeffrey.
Hello, hi. I actually live in one of the residential apartment buildings that you were just talking about. I live at 270 West 19th Street. I've lived here for 16 years. So I've seen that location go from La Chinita Linda to a Greek restaurant, to a Japanese restaurant, to what is now Lulu's. And I have to say that the owners of Lulu's have been so welcoming to this block and to the neighborhood. They've gone out of their way to make sure that everybody's needs are met. And to be, I've walked by the building. I live 1 minute away from there. I think that they've made such a great effort to make this such a beautiful space on the corner. It's so beautiful. You will, any time of the day or night, you'll see people coming there just to take a picture in front of the restaurant because it's so beautiful with the flowers. As far as the basement space goes, one day I was walking my dog, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I was walking my dog, and it seemed to me like the place was closed, or not closed, but I heard nothing. I was standing in front. I spoke to one of the owners who told me there was a basement in the space. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. He said, do you want to see it? I said, sure. They opened the door. They took me downstairs to what was a happening 30 or 40 people in that restaurant. You couldn't hear so much as a pin drop outside. I had no idea that this, I walked down, I was amazed to see this. The owners, like I said, I think it's great. I'm super happy to have them in the community. And I think that they've done nothing but bring up the neighborhood. We have a great place. We have a great restaurant. There's a great bar to have a drink. And if we can have this jazz bar downstairs, I think will be amazing. We need places like this. So many restaurants are getting shut down in our neighborhood. Look at 7th Avenue. They're all closing. There's nothing else left. And Lulu brings such a great element to our neighborhood. And I really think we should do whatever we can to help them to thrive and to support this business. I'm super happy they're there, and I'm super happy to support them in any way I can. And I literally live 1 minute away from the place. So
thanks, Jeffrey. One of the things we're trying to figure out is exactly what went on there in the past. Did they have live bands outside?
Before Lulu, it was a Japanese restaurant.
Now we're talking about when it's been Lulu in 2020 and 2021.
Oh,
during the pandemic, were there live bands outside?
I think Sunday afternoons, they would have, it wasn't outside, it was inside, but they have doors that open.
Okay.
And it's never been an issue. And that's the other thing. Like, I know that somebody else had mentioned something about the music spews onto the streets. It doesn't. The place, you can walk by, you don't hear anything. And then when you go inside, the place is packed. So it seems to me to be soundproofed very well.
Did they have outdoor speakers? Do you know?
I was never aware of any outdoor speakers, and I literally have a dog. So I walk by that place 4, 5, 6 times a day.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, Christine, and Tina.
So thank you for everyone who's commented and you know, given testimony and appeared tonight. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is now the 3rd time Lulu has appeared in the last several months, correct? And I do remember and recall the concerns about trust, about outdoor speakers, about blatant violations. And, you know, it seemed to me that over the previous 2 sessions, you know, we've addressed those. We've heard from the owner that, you know, he was committed to rectifying that, committed to doing better. And, you know, the source of the complaints, while I believe they're valid, I don't disbelieve them, are primarily have come from 1 or 2 individuals. And the fact of the matter is, we as a committee asked this applicant to go out and do a sound study, and they have done just that. I'm not sure, which comes out looking pretty good. I'm not sure in terms of, you know, process, how fair it would be for us to now go around and deny on other reasons than sound, when the sound report gave us what we were looking for. So that's where I'm standing right now. Thanks.
Jesse, here's the issue I'm wrestling with, and it's why I just asked the prior gentleman this. The sound report is only as good as it is adhered to and implemented. And I honestly have not been able to decide in my own mind, like, what's been going on there. And, you know, if the applicant it adheres to stipulations or not, because we have some people saying they do, and some people, this letter from the, West 200 block, Chelsea West 200 Block Association is pretty damning. So that's what I'm wrestling with. If this were an operator who's, absolutely adhered to every stipulation, and we were sure of that, I'd take comfort in the sound report.
Could we include as a stipulation that this applicant has to appear again here in 6 months? I mean, is that doable, or is that not?
The appearances, as you've noted, have been pretty torturous. So
not that anybody wants that, but
and
I mean,
the
the fact of the matter is we're taking a risk. I think your concern is if we go with, if we approve, we're taking a risk. We are taking someone at their word when their history doesn't necessarily say that we have reason to take them at their word. And that's concerning, and I get that. But at the same time, my understanding and thinking of the space, and I do pass by it, and I know it is very crowded inside. It is a packed place. And the basement, I think the sound emanates sort of to the first floor, but I think it's the sound that's coming out would be coming from that front door, and they pretty much keep it closed. So
see, half the people have said the doors and windows are open all the time. I think even the prior supporter just said
that. That was before this applicant appeared in front of us, correct? Like that was
actually, Jesse, we don't know when the door was open and when the door was closed. Was it October? Was it August? That's why I am puzzled. I'm not sure. This one says A and that one says Z.
But I guess I just don't want to make sure that we are accidentally creating what sounds like new information, which is actually old information based on previous periods that we've already discussed.
Well, to talk about the issue Nellie raised, the 300 West 18th and 19th Block Association said they reached out to him and wanted to meet and hadn't heard from him. They've now sent a letter objecting with no indication that the applicant ever contacted them. Now, they're not here, so I don't know what happened, but that's recent news. And we do have, and that was one of the block associations, I think in our prior meetings, we indicated wanted to meet with the applicant. So again, I agree with Bert. It's just hard to know what the facts are. I mean, we have people saying there were outdoor speakers and people saying there weren't.
And some people saying, I want to meet with them, but they don't want to meet with us. And some people saying, I want to meet with them, but they don't want to meet with me. Okay, Christine, Tina, Ted, and Wendy.
Well, I'm definitely totally confused. But the first thing is that I think Hosen back here was trying to respond to some of the things. Do we want to listen to that first? To the response or not? Oh, okay, so I'll go my way. First of all, is there an outside or there is no outside?
Can I answer some of this? Or
sidewalk shed.
Can I answer some of this if I may?
Well, just bear with me. I mean, is there an outside or there is no outside?
There's a shed outside.
There's a shed.
There's a shed in the street.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, not in the back.
But the doors are closed. If there's no speakers, the doors are closed from the cabanas, from the shed.
Can I please just say one thing to maybe alleviate some of the confusion? The gentleman who spoke, I think even he said that as of 2021, the sound isn't outside. There are no speakers outside. We will sign whatever you want us to sign, and we will come back if you want us to come back to evaluate what we say we're going to do. We have no objection to any of this.
That's a possibility, Martin. So
okay, thank you, Martin. So the first thing is that another question I have is that is the music, when you are in the basement, is the music permeating to the first floor or not? I thought Jesse said that.
The music, it does not go outside.
No. The question was whether from the ground it was going to the main floor.
Well, the main floor is the restaurant as well.
I'm not asking that question. I'm saying, is it going up or now? Or is there a door in between which prevent the sound to go from the basement to the main floor?
We do have a soundproof curtain
Okay, a
downstairs.
soundproof curtain in my mind is not good enough. So that's
Okay.
one of the first issue I heard was that the sound was permeating, and I think we need to have a better separation between the basement and the main floor.
Okay.
We did the acoustic testing, and even with the door open, there was no evidence of having any sort of noise leaking outside to the street.
But because you had the door closed going to the outside. But if the door is going outside is open, then
we had it including doors open. We did that as well.
You did that as well.
Yeah, it's in the
Okay.
in the test.
And then I have a second question: is it all right? And there is nothing in the back. There is no backyard, right?
No, there's no backyard.
Okay, I was just confused. So that's one answer. Yeah, I think first of all, I'd like to see the hours and the inside the form filled out properly, right? Because it's not filled out properly, and with the operation, the kitchen, the music. You put that in an attachment, but it's harder to read. And then the second question is effectively, having them come back in. We need a stipulation saying that they are going to do everything that the system, the study requires, and how are they going to make sure, and then come back in 3 months.
I have no problem with any of that.
Wendy?
I originally raised my hand when the speaker question was happening. I just want to echo a lot of what Jesse said, where I do think there's some of the confusion is some of those old issues that have been brought back up. I have walked, again, I'm not walking by every day, but I have never walked by and heard music. And I do recall from one of our previous meetings that the applicant stated that there had been speakers and that those had been removed. So I think that's part of the confusion. I obviously, if trust has been broken between the applicant and members of the community, that we can't do anything about. So all we can really do is kind of take them at their word and in their actions. I think that it seems like they have addressed a lot of the concerns that we've raised before. I think given the sound study and given the fact that these hours are actually quite reasonable, if we couple that with come back in 3 months and let's test this out, let's make sure this all works out, I'd be quite comfortable with that, especially since these hours are so conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, and no speaker outside, obviously.
Okay.
There's no.
Ed,
there's
your
no-
hand has been up, and is it down now?
I'm sorry.
Ted?
I mean, I was just gonna go off of what Christine was saying about the basement, some of the sound going up. But I also wanted to say that, in terms of the just asking for the basement, I don't know if that's going to fix or resolve the speaker situation outside, which was already resolved. And I don't see that would be an additional hindrance if they have the right sort of soundproofing for the basement.
Yeah.
Okay. Inga?
Yeah, it was clear that these were things that happened a couple years ago. They're asking for 3 nights a week. So they're not asking for 7 days a week. They're trying to do this slowly. They're trying to work with the neighborhood. I also walk by there, not every day, but quite often. I have not heard a problem in a long time. They did have speakers out at one point, or they had noise. It's been gone for a long, long time. I think 3 nights a week is reasonable. The hours are reasonable.
Yeah,
I would vote to approve this.
me too.
If I can also say something, so we had these complaints before about the noise. It was over 1.5 years ago. So we have the band, so say outside, indoors. It was during COVID. It was just for the neighborhood, to entertain the neighborhood, to be part of it, to make New York stronger again. So we are not doing this. This is not something that we are looking for right now. right away when we had the complaints about the speakers, we eliminated totally. We worked very hard to respect the neighbors, and we really love the neighborhood that we are in, and we would like to be a fully part of it. So we are really asking for to be approved for the license so that we can have the 2 to 3 days a week. It's going to be for after work. It's not going to be something that will go through over the night. It's between 5 and 10. It will be very casual downstairs for an experience for our customers, for our clientele. It's also something that we were asked for and approached to by our neighborhood, by a local artist, and we would like to be a part of the community and make it thrive.
Okay. I want to do a motion to approve.
Okay, wait a second. We got a
Wait.
lot of steps. So just going back to what we hope is happening now. There are no outdoor speakers, correct?
Correct.
And anytime there is any amplified sound inside, all the doors and windows to the outside have to be closed.
No problem.
They're always closed, yeah, except in the summer during the daytime.
Wait,
And we don't
That's when they don't have music.
If there's music, if there's
not
any
music.
kind of amplified sound, doesn't matter what season it is,
Okay.
windows have to be closed.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
Okay. All right, so we're going to repeat those two steps, just to make sure everyone's clear. And we'll say you'll implement all recommendations of the acoustic log report dated
Yes.
November 14, 2020. Cellar occupancy will be limited to 73 people. Martin, that's what the acoustic log report is based on. So I think we can use that as the number, correct?
That's fine if you want to. We'll
But wait
go
a minute,
lower.
that's 73 number.
No, but we'll go lower. We're not interested in 73 people.
Yeah, it's 54, right?
It's 54, okay. Well, so skip that then. But they are gonna, as Christina asked, you'll submit by January 22, sort of numbers showing the capacity on outside, on the roadway, on the first floor and in the cellar, correct?
Yes.
Okay. For the basement, there'll be no show times, no tickets sold, no advance reservations. Music in the basement will be limited between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. nightly, with a maximum of 3 musicians, and will be limited to 3 nights per week. And I guess we need those weeks, those days, so we have something that's concrete.
Okay, we'll give them to.
So you'll get us by the 22nd, you'll get us the 3 nights you're gonna have the music?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's it.
I second Christine's motion
You're
to approve with the
I haven't
steps.
called the question yet. Okay, we got a motion and it's been seconded. All those in favor? Okay, all those opposed?
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, the
All
two
those
chairs.
abstaining? All those present not eligible? Okay, I think it passed.
Full
Thank
board
you very
will be,
much.
full
All right,
board will
everybody.
be
Sorry,
interested.
just for the committee here, while we're all together, since Bert and I both voted against this, we need someone who, if there are questions from the full board, someone from this committee who can explain what the full board vote, someone who's in the majority. Anyone
Happy to.
volunteer to do that? Jesse, great.
Yeah, but I would love to know why you guys voted against it.
That's not now. Let's talk about it later.
Yeah.
When later?
I think I made it clear in my points. I just think that the track record does not give me confidence.
I don't have trust.
in their following the steps.
They'll prove you wrong.
I hope so.
I would love to be
Hope
proven.
so, yeah, hope so.
Yeah. And I probably won't be at the full board. I'm going to be in Chile, in Easter Island.
Nice. Wow.
I don't know if I'll have internet.
Don't even try.
Take a
Bert.
vacation,
Don't
Bert.
even try.
We can handle this.
Okay.
Did
All
we?
right.
Okay.
I on behalf of the licensee, I really thank the committee and have a very happy New Year.
You have a
Martin,
big,
get
you
some
know,
sleep.
big pressure on your shoulders now to
Thank you so
follow
much.
through because our, you
Thank
know,
you.
co-chairs are counting on you.
Okay.
Get some
Good night,
rest and
everybody.
feel better, Martin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, feel better, Martin.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.